Chapter 940. In the wind, a figure slowly appeared. Using the power of the chaotic elemental bombardment plate, Gu Shan returned to his original appearance, left the battlefield, and turned into a breeze to sneak next to the immortal king. He reached his hand out to grab the heaven sword. "Senior, don't worry, the sword is in my hand," Gu Shan solemnly told him. The immortal king looked at Gu Shan, then at the heaven sword in his hand. The despair and unwillingness on his face disappeared without a trace. The immortal king finally smiled and spoke with difficulty. "It's good that you're here." He slowly closed his eyes, lowered his head, and passed away. The age of old that belonged to humanity ended with the immortal king's departure. Everything was over. Looking at this old man who planned everything, Gu Shan felt a surge of emotions in his heart. But he simply took a deep breath and suppressed them. After going through so much bloodshed, traveling through the entire age of old, going back and forth between the monster's schemes and humanity's struggles, he had finally reached the most crucial moment. He couldn't afford to be careless. Everything wasn't over yet. The final outcome had to be accomplished by him with everything he had. Lines of blood-red text kept appearing in the void of space. "You've obtained the Heaven Sword. You've completed the Order's evolution quest. The Demon King Order is now evolving. The Demon King is about to descend." All the blood-red text disappeared. Following that, the Demon King Order's voice sounded frowny face as you've obtained the same level of Order origin power as the test subject. This evolution has been completed. As you've dealt with the Abyssal Fate Weaver, the Order recommends that you immediately sacrifice the intermediate level Demon Lord that you've just completed and change your strategy on the battlefield. "What will I get after I sacrifice it?" Gu Shan asked. The Demon King Order replied, "You will receive the Order's first combat function. In truth, ever since kindling, the Order has never activated a true Order function for your Excellency. This is the first time. Immediately sacrifice it," Gu Shan told the Order in his mind. "Understood. The Demon Lord has been sacrificed. The Demon King Black Flag will be activated," the Order replied. From the moment Gu Shan obtained the sword to the moment the Order evolved, it only took a few breaths' worth of time. A resounding roar resounded in the sky. Gu Shan looked up. The Soul Shrieker and Abyssal Magic Dragon attacked the indestructible giant at the same time. They had long since noticed the movements on the ground. But Gu Shan was only a 3,000 worlds realm human cultivator, so they didn't take her seriously at all. To the two terrifying abyssal monsters, the Heavenly Sword was no different from being in the hands of an immortal king. He had to kill the indestructible giant first. The Soul Shrieker and Abyssal Magic Dragon were on guard against each other, both of them charging at the indestructible giant at a moderate speed. The indestructible giant's aura was once again raised to its peak, and his entire body exuded a terrifying aura. The giant raised his sword, as if he was ready to go all out. Seeing this, the Soul Shrieker and Abyssal Magic Dragon's movements became even slower. Each of them had their own ulterior motives. They tried their best to maintain the same speed to prevent the other party from attacking later or not attacking at all. Gu Shan silently watched this scene, thoughts flashing through her mind. From the battle, just now, it could be seen that the Soul Shrieker was a very intelligent monster. It had a hand. It had been hiding the 7-colored spear without using it. What made Gu Shan's heart feel even heavier was the Soul Shrieker in front of her was actually only a split body of the real Soul Shrieker. Its main body was still inside the abyss. Why didn't its main body come here? Furthermore, the Abyssal Fate Weaver was also full of suspicious points. The only good news was Gu Shan's gaze fell onto the Abyssal Magic Dragon. During battle, the Abyssal Magic Dragon's body was constantly filled with the fog of defeat, which would occasionally enter his body. If too much fog of defeat entered his body at the same time, the Magic Dragon's body would involuntarily twitch. This minor issue didn't escape the Soul Shrieker's eyes, and Gu Shan noticed it as well. The Magic Dragon's abyssal assimilation seemed to have run into some issues. His mind wasn't as sharp as before. But regardless, The magic dragon was still a powerful war machine, capable of watching over the abyssal fate weaver's main body. So even if something went wrong during the abyssal assimilation process, he had become even stronger. This was the reason why the Soul Shrieker had been hiding the seven-colored spear. The Soul Shrieker was probably trying to find a gap in the magic dragon's defense to strike. Gu Qingshan was also shocked by this. So the difference between the abyssal monsters was actually this great. The Soul Shrieker was the strongest entity that was after the Heaven Sword. A mere avatar of it was able to fight against the magic dragon. Its main body, Gu Qingshan sighed, then suddenly recalled that artisan. That was an even more unimaginable power. Gu Qingshan calmed herself down and called out, "Luo Bingli, hurry." While the two abyssal monsters were tricked, this was the only opportunity if I don't save the Earth Sword. When a girl in a rainbow-colored dress appeared from the Heaven Sword and whispered something into Gu Qingshan's ear. Just like all divine armaments, only when the artifact's spirit explains its abilities would the wielder of the sword truly know how to use this weapon. Following Luo Bingli's explanation, Gu Qingshan slowly understood something. Fortunately, this place is a temporal oasis, Gu Qingshan muttered. Because this was a temporal oasis, everything that existed here was isolated from the timeline as a whole. Nothing would happen if an item that once existed in history appeared here. As long as its other main body wasn't on this temporal oasis, neither of its main bodies would be selected and erased by the law of time. But if both main bodies appeared on the temporal oasis at the same time, the law of time would randomly erase one of them to ensure the stability of the temporal oasis. The Earth Sword from the age of old had already been taken away by Xiegu Hong to the lower realm. At this very moment, there was only a single Earth Sword on this temporal oasis. The Earth Sword in Gu Qingshan's hand. He tapped his inventory bag without hesitation, took out a long box, and opened it. The Earth Sword. The Earth Sword was still slumbering inside. The temporal lock technique had already been weakened to its limit. The invisible, twisted ripples of energy were easily dispelled by Gu Qingshan's touch. Gu Qingshan wielded the Heaven Sword in one hand and the Earth Sword in the other. The two swords began to resonate in resonance. The Earth Sword's broken body was already full of cracks, but as the two swords resonated, all the cracks miraculously disappeared. It was recovering at a speed visible to the naked eye. At the same time, the soul points value on the UI in front of Gu Qingshan's eyes was decreasing. But Gu Qingshan didn't pay attention to the soul points value. "That's great. I finally saved you," he spoke with a joyful voice. The Earth Sword's mountainous heavy voice followed. "Unbelievable, you actually managed to find the Heaven Sword. Seems like I won't have to die," Gu Qingshan replied. "Of course, you're my sword. If I don't allow you to die, then don't even think about it." The Earth Sword paused briefly, then spoke in a low voice. "We'll talk later, right now. Both the Heaven Sword and I are about to awaken." As soon as it said so, a blinding light erupted from the two swords. Gu Qingshan felt the world around him becoming blurry. Other than the blinding light in front of him, he couldn't see anything else. At this point, the blood-red UI abruptly lit up. Countless blood-red lines of text appeared in front of his eyes, displaying the details of the Earth Sword's recovery, as well as the following notifications. You have obtained the Abyssal Soul Artifact, the main body of the Abyssal Weapon, the Demon Warding Weapon at the bottom of the Endless Abyss, the Protector of Extinction, the Sword of Betraying Fate, the Key to Infinite Worlds, the Legendary Twin Swords, Heaven and Earth, because you obtained both the Heaven Sword and the Earth Sword. The Heaven Sword has fully awakened. Soul Artifact, Heaven Sword. This sword has the following abilities. Heaven's Choice. At any point in time when you strike a certain entity, you can immediately follow up with the same attack for 3, 6, or 9 times. Description. The number of follow-up attacks is determined by the amount of soul points you expend. Chaotic Flow. When the Heaven Sword strikes a certain entity, you can cause that entity's state to skip the current moment until the moment of your choosing. Description. Activating this ability requires a corresponding amount of soul points to that entity's strength. Special note. After activating Chaotic Flow, you must wait 10 days before you can activate this ability again. Twin Heaven. When you obtain both the Heaven Sword and the Earth Sword, the Twin Sword's ability will fully awaken. Because you obtained both the Heaven Sword and the Earth Sword has fully awakened. Soul Artifact. Earth Sword. This sword has the following abilities: Earth's Choice. Slay all entities. Description: the stronger the target you want to slay, the more soul points Earth's Choice will require. Holy Land. Passive when attacking. The weight of this sword can be 1 to 1,001 times heavier than the enemy it is facing. The weight can be increased or decreased as you wish, but when it is in your hand, it will bear its own weight and will not affect you. Chapter 941. In the Sky. Two abyssal monsters charged at the indestructible giant. They didn't unleash their strongest attacks, instead only cautiously defending against each other while casually attacking. The indestructible giant, with an overwhelming presence, raised his sword, exuding an unprecedented and desperate aura as he swung it at them with everything he had. This strike was as fast as lightning, so much so that the sword couldn't even be seen when it was halfway through. Wait, he really disappeared. The Soul Shrieker kept its guard up against the abyssal magic dragon while retreating. Seeing it retreat, the abyssal magic dragon also pulled back. The two terrifying monsters looked at each other in bewilderment. What's going on? Following that, something even more unbelievable happened. The indestructible giant disappeared. The Soul Shrieker glanced at where the indestructible giant disappeared, pondered for a bit, then understood. At this point, the abyssal magic dragon coldly scoffed. What a trick to be able to hide within the void of space. What a trick. The Soul Shrieker stared at the abyssal magic dragon like it was looking at an idiot and explained. He just ran away. At another location, using the last bit of time he had, Gu Qingshan took out the bramble great tree seed. He placed the seed on the Heaven Sword's spine and activated Chaotic Flow. His soul power value plummeted. Boom! A towering bramble great tree that reached the clouds appeared in front of him. An intense pressure that felt like it was solid came from the tree, almost comparable to the indestructible giant's power. In the blink of an eye, a seed had skipped countless years and turned into a towering tree. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to call this a miracle. This scene caused Gu Qingshan to fall into a daze. He muttered, I finally understand why this power can only be used after 10 days. Otherwise, it would be a godlike existence. Gongzi! Shanu appeared behind him and called out. She was hugging Little Dusk. They're all here, Gu Qingshan nodded. The bramble great tree, the angel of condemnation, the demon king of order, as well as... Gu Qingshan used her spiritual sense to check and found that the 3 coins were lying steadily in the storage bag. Now, he could activate the coin's power at any time and leave this era. Gongzi, take this time to leave, Shanu urged him. Gu Qingshan pondered and looked into the void of space. A line of blood-red characters stopped in front of him. Please quickly release the Demon King Black Flag to face the enemy. Gu Qingshan looked at the translucent black flag on the interface. As long as he allowed it, this flag would appear on the battlefield. At this time, what was there to hesitate about? Gu Qingshan thought for a moment and asked, what will happen after we release the flag? The Demon King Order quickly replied. The Demon King is about to descend and save this world. What about me? With the Demon King's help, you will slowly grow into the Demon King of condemnation of the same level. Gu Qingshan paused. He never fully trusted the Demon King Order. He didn't know how much of it was exaggerating, but he had seen the Order kill without hesitation. But if I don't release the Demon King Black Flag right now, I don't know what will happen, nor do I know what kind of secret the Demon King Order is hiding. What exactly is the Demon King? With that in mind, Gu Qingshan purposefully asked, what if I don't release the Black Flag? The Demon King Order's voice became cold and emotionless. If you don't release the Demon King, the Order will bypass you and directly release the Demon King. Everything has already been decided. This is the first summoning, which will gradually sweep across all worlds. Gu Qingshan asked first. Then when can you awaken the other orders? The Order replied. When the Demon King Order rules over the infinite worlds, the other orders might be able to awaken. Saying so, lines of glowing text appeared on the blood-red UI. The Demon King Black Flag has been prepared. Prepare to release the Black Flag, extract soul points, release. The Demon King Order bypassed Gu Shan and directly controlled the UI. So it had its own plan, regardless of whether Gu Shan agreed or disagreed with it. It would still achieve its goal in the end. All the blood-red text disappeared. A moment of silence. However, nothing happened. 2 more lines of text appeared on the UI. Insufficient soul points. Unable to activate the Demon King Black Flag summoning ritual. Insufficient soul points? I clearly killed all the desolate monsters. Why would I have insufficient soul points? Gu Shan looked at her remaining soul points in surprise. Remaining soul points? Why is there only 1 soul point left? Even if I don't count the soul points I obtained from killing the desolate monsters, I still have at least 2 to 3 million soul points left. Gu Shan suddenly recalled something and looked at the icon that was separate from the Demon King Order, SUI. War God Skills. Next to War God Skills, a few lines of glowing text had appeared. When you killed the desolate monsters, you transformed into the indestructible giant. Your strength far surpassed the desolate race, so I can't give you the soul points. The remaining soul points are all in the tab. Take a look for yourself. Gu Shan immediately looked. Next to the War God Skills icon, another line of glowing text had appeared. The remaining value of your soul power was transferred over by the original War God technique. At the most crucial moment, War God Skills took away all of your soul points and stopped the Demon King Order. Seeing this, Gu Shan was speechless. A single ability to advance to the 3rd stage was enough to stop the Demon King Order. This entire plan, I really don't know what the War God UI is. Thank you for your help, Gu Shan said to the icon. The icon jumped a bit and displayed another line of glowing text, frowny face, hurry and run. You can't win against those 2 monsters. That short statement caused Gu Shan to feel warmth in his heart. He looked up at the sky. Let time return to a few moments ago. The 2 terrifying abyssal monsters weren't actually looking at the tiny ant that was Gu Shan. They were instead observing each other. The giant ran away again. Not only did it run away, but it was also nowhere to be found. Then, should we fight or not? While the 2 terrifying monsters were hesitating, they saw the great bramble tree that abruptly appeared. They followed the tree and saw Little Dusk in Shanu's arms, as well as Gu Shan, who wielded her twin swords. The Soul Shrieker exclaimed in shock. The great bramble tree, the angel of condemnation, and a human with a high-level cruel order. Oh no, he's running away. The Soul Shrieker no longer cared about the abyssal magic dragon and leapt towards Gu Shan. Seeing that the other party was trying to steal the twin swords despite the rules, the abyssal magic dragon couldn't stand it and immediately followed. At this point, War God Skills displayed a line of glowing text, telling Gu Shan to hurry and run. Gongzi, hurry, let's go. Shanu also hurriedly urged her. Gu Shan stared closely at the 2 terrifying abyssal monsters and slowly said, I've finally understood a bit of the Demon King Order's characteristics, but there's still something I need to do. Don't be impatient, Shana froze. In this situation of certain death, Gongzi still said that he had something to do. At this point, the Soul Shrieker had already caught up. It was only a few dozen feet away from Gu Shan. Gu Shan suddenly shouted, Adorable! A jade gourd pendant appeared from the void of space and loudly replied, Shio shio shio, shio shio shio. This is a wonderful skill. Let me borrow it. Clusters of golden light began to radiate from Gu Shan's body. The golden light converged into a long golden thread that silently fell onto the Soul Shrieker's body. The other end of the golden thread fell into Gu Shan's hand. Earthen Dual Body. Previously, when Gu Shan used this skill, the Gourd Adorable had followed their previous agreement to temporarily treat Gu Shan as an enemy and steal this skill. The Soul Shrieker turned around in the air, wielded a 7-colored spear, and pierced through the abyssal demon dragon that was following behind it without uttering a single word. This was a sneak attack without any warning. Roar! The abyssal magic dragon howled in pain, exerting all of his strength to attack the Soul Shrieker. The Soul Shrieker didn't resist at all, and simply allowed the gray flames to burn its body. It was trembling all over, as if it was fighting against something. But it was useless. This was the power of the Earth Saint Pillar Creator. Under Gu Qingshan's control, the Soul Shrieker recalled the 7-colored spear that it had thrown out, wielded it, and stabbed it into the abyssal magic dragon's body again and again. It was stronger than the abyssal magic dragon to begin with, and now that it was using a suicidal method, it quickly pierced through the magic dragon's heart. But Gu Qingshan controlled it to continue stabbing the magic dragon's body. The two terrifying abyssal monsters were fighting in the air. Their battle caused heaven and earth to change color. The shockwaves of their battle caused intense winds to blow up layers of sand and dirt from the ground into the sky. The monsters' roars reverberated everywhere, causing even Gu Qingshan's ears to ring. But he didn't hold back at all, controlling the Soul Shrieker to attack the abyssal magic dragon without any regard for its own life. They were both abyssal monsters, so they couldn't be killed. The only way to prolong their recovery was to inflict irreparable wounds on them. Finally, the magic dragon uttered a sorrowful cry and fell from the sky. The Soul Shrieker descended from above, swung the 7-colored spear, and cut off the abyssal magic dragon's head, then chopped it into pieces. Damn it. So you were, while chopping off the magic dragon's head, the Soul Shrieker glared at Gu Qingshan and spat venomously. It didn't manage to finish its sentence. Under Gu Qingshan's control, she wielded the 7-colored spear with both hands and stabbed it through the neck, then out the top of the head. This was a fatal blow. As the 7-colored spear pierced through the Soul Shrieker's head, it could only let out gurgling noises, unable to say a single word. The Soul Shrieker trembled as it took a few steps forward, knelt on the ground, and died. Even as it died, it was still holding the 7-colored spear with both hands, as if it was reluctant to part with this weapon. The entire world returned to silence. Shanna froze. Luo Bingley appeared from the Heaven's Sword, glanced at the corpses of the two abyssal monsters, sighed, and looked at Gu Qingshan with a complicated expression. The Earth's Sword hovered next to Gu Qingshan and silently guarded him. The gourd tiredly landed on Gu Qingshan's shoulder. Everything seemed to have ended. At this point, Shanu and Luo Bingley seemed to want to say something, but Gu Qingshan waved his hand to stop them. Ever since the Abyssal Fate Weaver began, there had been a lot of uncertainty in this battle. Many of the strategies he had considered were useless. In fact, for this battle, the primordial Heaven Realm's repel barrier had already been destroyed. Not even the Soul Shrieker was able to stay in this world for too long. The Abyssal Fate Weaver was able to read every thought in Gu Qingshan's mind, even her emotions. The magic dragon was able to patiently play dead, silently deal with the Abyssal Fate Weaver, and successfully deceive the Abyssal Jail's judgment. And yet, everything seemed to have gone according to the worst scenario for the enemy, but the luckiest scenario for Gu Qingshan. Was this really just luck? Gu Qingshan sighed. As far as he knew, there was only one person who could achieve this without anyone noticing. Chapter 942. After shouting that, Gu Qingshan silently waited. At this point, the world was desolate and silent. The blood-red setting sun left behind a final ray of light, casting a murky crimson glow over the ground. In this gloomy space-time that was approaching its end, the lifeless primordial heaven realm felt like an illusory dream. On the ground, the Soul Shrieker's corpse that had its head pierced through by a spear, as well as the headless abyssal magic dragon's corpse, remained motionless. Only these two corpses could prove that the previous war of humanity's extinction had truly happened. These two abyssal monster corpses would remain in this state until one day they revived again. All of a sudden, Gu Qingshan sensed something and looked up at the sky. A cluster of gray light silently appeared in the middle of the sky, then slowly descended. Boom! The gray light turned into a dark gray torrent that enveloped the entire world, quickly drowning everything, forming a vast ocean that circled around Guqin Shan like a storm. At this point, the entire world disappeared from Guqin Shan's sight. Only the gray torrent remained within the boundless space-time, slowly manifesting into a giant head that was several dozen meters tall. The giant head looked down at Guqin Shan, the Earth world's creator. It revealed a rather interested expression and opened its mouth to speak. Those two monsters couldn't detect my existence, but you did. How interesting, Guqin Shan politely replied. Sometimes strength isn't everything, Your Excellency. Then, when did you notice my existence? When I killed the abyssal fate weaver, Guqin Shan continued. It could read minds and perceive the emotions of living beings, but it didn't know about the existence of the earthen dual body, which meant there were only two possibilities. The first was that after I obtained this card, the abyssal fate weaver didn't read my mind. The second was that it read my mind but didn't notice this card. Both of these scenarios were extremely illogical. Then there was the soul shrieker. It had schemed for so many years in order to obtain the twin swords heaven and earth, but from start to finish, its main body never showed up. At the final moment when the heaven sword appeared, it didn't even manage to send a single avatar here, not only the abyssal fate weaver and soul shrieker, but the final monster who was fighting for the twin swords heaven and earth. The abyssal magic dragon also had an issue. Its mind had become a bit muddled. Other than them, I also sensed something strange. During my battle against the soul shrieker and the abyssal magic dragon, the world's defensive barrier was suddenly destroyed. They immediately noticed this, so they weren't in a hurry to steal the heaven sword and instead wanted to eliminate the other competitors first. Also, I'm always lucky enough to avoid great damage in battle. This feeling is very familiar. Guqin Shan stretched out 5 fingers and said, "We say that there are no coincidences on the battlefield, but in the fight just now, there were 5 coincidences in my favor, so this is not a coincidence. Among the powerful entities that I know, Your Excellency is the only one who possesses such power." The Earth Creator silently listened, then displayed an expression of praise. "You are very perceptive normally. The heroes of humanity's history would feel that they had paid a great deal of effort in order to achieve victory in the end. Very few were able to notice my care and assistance to show my appreciation for your calmness. I will tell you a few things." It stared closely at Guqin Shan and spoke in a resounding voice. "The reason why I traveled through time to arrive at your location was because of that eternal abyss weapon following the Earth Creators." Words, weapon components flew out from the soul shrieker's corpse and disappeared into the vast gray torrent in the sky. This is the war of the abyss, the apocalypse of the infinite worlds, the moment of extinction. I cannot allow them to obtain this cornerstone weapon of the eternal abyss, Guqin Shan pondered. "Your Excellency, I don't understand what you mean," the Earth Creator replied. "I ask you, what happened when this weapon was completed?" "Phantom images?" "Correct. Because your human leader wasn't strong enough. He wasn't able to fully utilize the weapon's power. And this weapon can actually accomplish a certain forbidden feat at this point." The Earth Creator's tone became cold and solemn. "It can allow the wielder to travel through parallel worlds." Guqin Shan was shocked and couldn't help but exclaim in shock. "Travel to parallel worlds?" "Indeed, by traveling to parallel worlds, one can obtain countless benefits, such as being able to travel through the timeline of a parallel world without worrying about being erased by the law of time." Guqin Shan seriously thought about it. "If I travel through time in a parallel world, I must be careful to avoid my past or future self. Otherwise, I would be erased by the law of time. Even a temporal oasis wouldn't allow 2 identical entities to exist at the same time. But parallel worlds are different. During the water tribulation, I once ran into many versions of myself from parallel worlds. The versions of myself from different worlds existed at the same time, but since they didn't exist in the same timeline, neither of us would be erased." The Earth Creator continued. "Traveling through parallel worlds means that you will obtain twice or more times, or even countless times more precious resources. For certain unique items, you can obtain a second, a third, or even an infinite number of them in a parallel world. Indeed, our infinite worlds are on the brink of extinction, But there are always parallel worlds that are a paradise. Although the majority of parallel worlds are essentially the same, there are always some with different destinies. And by going to such worlds, one can obtain a deeper understanding of the laws. Furthermore, the people who died in this world, the treasures that were lost, and the knowledge that was lost were all perfectly passed down in the parallel worlds. Do you know what that means? Guqing Shan muttered. I can simply go to a parallel world to investigate the relevant secrets, then return to unravel everything and obtain the harvest of both worlds. The Earth Creator spoke full of killing intent. The wielder of that abyssal weapon will obtain countless benefits, but if they don't know how to restrain themselves, they will inevitably cause chaos in the parallel worlds, spreading the apocalypse from our world, spreading and ultimately destroying everything at the same time. The wielder of this weapon will obtain too many benefits, becoming invincible in our world. I will not allow or permit any of the above to happen, nor will I allow this weapon to fall into the hands of the enemy. Guqing Shan sighed and said, so that's how it is, I understand. And so, you're telling me so much because you want me to give up on my sword? Guqing Shan's expression slowly turned resolute. Seeing the change in him, the Earth Creator's expression became gentle. Humanity and I have signed an eternal covenant. We are mutual allies, so there's only a single small problem in front of us, it spoke in an echoing voice. Guqing Shan noticed a certain attitude in the other party's tone and calmed down a bit. Please ask, the Earth Creator sighed emotionally. Tiny and great humans, your desires have always been dominated by your bodies. Your lifespan has been dominated by time, and your direction has been dominated by fate. But Guqing Shan, your actions have deviated from these characteristics. I find it strange. Why didn't you follow the prearranged procedure to obtain the Heaven Sword, instead choosing to save your own kind, who should have been sacrificed? Guqing Shan shook his head. There has never been such a thing as should have been sacrificed. No one should have been sacrificed, he continued. Only when we are powerless to fight against something can we speak of the word sacrifice. And that wasn't the case at the time. The Earth Creator continued to ask. At the time, even I was prepared to cooperate with the most reliable method and have them cover your advance. This way, you would have easily obtained the Heaven Sword, and I would have been able to easily arrange everything. But why did you make the other choice? Fate didn't give them a path of retreat, but it did for me. That's all, Guqing Shan replied. What if you also had no path of retreat? Chapter 943. The Earth Creator's contemplative voice resounded from within the gray torrent that covered the entire world. So that's how it is among the humans I know. You are quite the courageous one. Even in the abyss, you could be considered a qualified warrior. It went silent for a few moments. Suddenly, a stream of water flew out from within the gray torrent and coiled around the twin swords Heaven and Earth. Accordingly, lines of blood-red text appeared in front of Guqing Shan's eyes, frowny face. The twin swords Heaven and Earth have resonated with your soul. They have formed a mysterious connection with your life, so when you die, they will also die. As long as you are alive, they can only be used in your hands. No one else will be able to obtain their power. The presence of the abyss they carry has been concealed. No entity can easily notice them. Guqing Shan sighed in relief. For the other party to do this, it seems they won't be using the twin swords Heaven and Earth again. Sure enough, the Earth Creator's voice resounded. To prevent these two swords from being taken away by enemies in the future and reassembled into that abyssal weapon, I have modified their laws a bit. Guqing Shan sincerely thanked him. Thank you, Your Excellency. I will definitely protect my swords. Guqing Shan, other than the twin swords Heaven and Earth, there are many things that you can't take away from this era. These things will surely expose your whereabouts in the future. Those monsters who are desperate for revenge will follow these things from several 10,000 years ago to find you. Guqing Shan thought for a bit and understood what he meant. The Earth Creator's tone became heavier. The war in the future will be even more desperate. You must first preserve your strength and slowly grow. I can't take anything away. Then the Angel of Condemnation. Guqing Shan couldn't help but ask. The little dusk of this era had too much of her power sucked away, so she was still sleeping with her eyes closed. What should I do? If I take the current little dusk to the future, one of the two little dusks will definitely disappear. I have to return to the future and save her. Thinking of this, Guqin Shan felt relieved. The Earth Creator replied, "The cruel order on your body, the soul artifacts you created, as well as all objects of this era, I will return them to this era. As for the angel of condemnation, she shall continue to walk down her original fate. I have a jade gourd pendant. That doesn't matter. I can't actually see that thing either. I only noticed your actions and how it duplicated the earthen dual body. That's how I learned of its existence. Not to mention, it's not a creation of this era, but a naturally occurring treasure from the bygone era. Also, the silent dust cloak you're wearing is also from the bygone era. It can conceal your presence very well, so you can keep it as well. Understood. Thank you." As they spoke, many things appeared around them and entered the gray torrent. The 3 coins, the soul-carving blades, the chaotic 5-elemental bombardment plate, the great bramble tree, the angel of condemnation, Little Dusk, the inheritance of the barren cloud heavenly palace, several hundred flying swords, etc. As the flying swords left, Guqin Shan felt a bit regretful, but it couldn't be helped. He couldn't take away anything that belonged to this era with him. He could only watch as the flying swords left one after another. Guqin Shan could now control 1,200 flying swords, but only the Chao Yin swords, 6 paths great mountain swords, and the twin swords heaven and earth were left. Next was Little Dusk. As she left, she seemed to have sensed something and abruptly opened her eyes. As soon as Little Dusk saw the Earth Creator, she couldn't help but feel shocked by the other party's immense power and appeared a bit surprised. "Is there anything you want to say to her?" the Earth Creator asked Guqin Shan. Guqin Shan's face was hidden by the cloak as she told the confused Little Dusk, "Little Dusk, remember this well. If one day you run into trouble, the only solution is to rob others." "You mean, rob me?" Little Dusk was confused. "Yes, your hope lies in robbing others," Guqin Shan sincerely replied. He nodded to the Earth Creator, gesturing that it was enough. The Little Dusk of this era immediately went into the gray torrent and disappeared from Guqin Shan's sight. At this point, the blood-red UI in front of Guqin Shan's eyes also slowly faded away, leaving only the War God skills icon in front of her. Even the Demon King Order had been separated from his body and disappeared without a trace. Guqin Shan was shocked. The Earth Creator's power was truly immeasurable. Even the Demon King Order couldn't help but be driven away by it. In just a few breaths worth of time, besides the Heaven Sword and Adorable, everything that Guqin Shan had brought to this era had gone into the gray torrent and disappeared without a trace. A pure gold coin descended from above and landed in Guqin Shan's hand. "There's a sword technique on your Jade tag that's barely acceptable. I'll put it inside this coin for you to practice," the Earth Creator said. Guqin Shan knew that the other party was talking about the enemy-killing sword technique passed down from the bygone era, which was also the sword technique that Xiegu Hong chose from the Grand Tai Wei Fortress. "Thank you, Your Excellency. How should I leave this era now?" He clasped his fist to thank it, then asked. "The gold coin in your hand will allow you to quickly travel through time. It will protect you and bring you back to a safe location in the future." The Earth Creator was a bit reluctant to part with it. "Remember, I'm only lending it to you. You'll have to return it to me after I return." Guqin Shan looked at the gold coin in his hand. The obverse side of the coin depicted 4 grand pillars that reached all the way to the sky, while the reverse side depicted a vast expanse of land. This wasn't a bygone-era human coin, but it gave off a heavy metallic feeling as he held it in his hand. For no apparent reason, Guqin Shan felt an unprecedented sense of confidence. A single gold coin was enough to allow a cultivator with sharp spirit sense to sense something clearly. This alone was enough to prove the power it possessed. Sure enough, the icon for War God skills in the void of space flickered as lines of glowing text began to describe the coin. Frowny face, unique item. Gold coin. Unique. Law. All living beings are able to survive because of the existence of the earth. For living beings, this is the truest form of luck. Law. Every 100 days, this gold coin will be able to activate the ability of true luck. Law. The earth nurtures all things, encompasses all things. Law. You may place anything inside this coin as well as attach any power to this coin. Note. The coin has been imbued with a warp technique that leads to the earth world, meaning that you have obtained the earth creator's permission. Note. You may comprehend the sword technique. Enemy-killing sword technique from this gold coin, but due to the soul points required to do so, please improve your swordsmanship before attempting it. The ability of true luck on this coin has been activated, granting you the ability to travel through time. Once, it will bring you to the future, arriving at a relatively safe location and time. As soon as Guqing Shan finished reading this, the Earth Creator's voice resounded again, frowny face after you return and settle down. Take some time to activate this coin. It will bring you back to my world, after which you may return this coin to me. Guqing Shan joyfully replied, I understand. Thank you, Your Excellency, with such a big shot protecting me. Even without the 3 unique coins, I wouldn't have to worry about returning. Furthermore, if I run into any danger on my way back, I can immediately activate the power of the coin to hide in the Earth Creator's world. Even the abyssal monsters wouldn't dare to cause trouble in the Earth Creator's world. At this point, the Earth Creator's voice became grand and filled with boundless power. Grow, Guqing Shan. You are a human warrior that I look favorably upon. One day, you will become a powerful enough warrior to fight alongside us, facing the destruction of the infinite worlds and the true apocalypse. As the gray torrent in the sky slowly left, the Earth Creator's voice also became fainter and fainter. It was about to leave. Guqing Shan hurriedly asked, Aren't you going to return to the future, Your Excellency? The Earth Creator replied, Since I'm here, I want to seek out a certain secret before returning to the future in the void of space. Its voice became fainter and fainter, almost completely disappearing. What exactly happened to the Abyssal Gate? I didn't manage to take a look back then, but it should be about time now, so I might as well take a look, HM, and I'll have to be careful to avoid myself. Its voice disappeared. Chapter 944. The Earth Creator had already left. But as Guqing Shan listened to the other party's final words, he couldn't help but fall into thought. The other party isn't afraid of having another me in the same timeline. What kind of ability is this? After thinking for a bit, Guqing Shan couldn't help but sigh. There's no point in thinking too much. The Earth Creator is too powerful, far more powerful than I can imagine. Rather than making random guesses, it's better to return to my own future as soon as possible. Following the Earth Creator's departure, the scenery of the primordial heaven realm returned to Guqing Shan. Shanu and Luo Bingley were standing in front of him with worried expressions. Gongzi, why did you suddenly disappear just now? Shanu asked in confusion. It's nothing, Guqing Shan replied. Gongzi, the great bramble tree, is also gone. Luo Bingley stood next to Shanu and reminded him. She and Shanu both called Guqing Shan Gongzi, which was quite interesting. It's nothing, Guqing Shan smiled. Also, I temporarily lost contact with the Heaven Sword just now, Luo Bingley worriedly said. Don't worry, it's nothing, Guqing Shan assured her. I also lost contact with Gongzi just now. This has never happened before, Shanu worriedly said. Ah, that's nothing, Guqing Shan continued. Luo Bingley worriedly said, but Little Dusk also suddenly disappeared. Shanu asked, If she's gone, then how are we supposed to return? Luo Bingley replied, Without her and the great bramble tree, we probably won't be able to return. Shanu displayed an expression of disbelief and asked, Are we going to start living here from now on? Luo Bingley sighed. I'm afraid so. They both turned to Guqing Shan and asked at the same time, Gongzi, what do we do now? It's nothing. Guqing Shan suddenly felt a bit of a headache. It seemed that some unexpected situations had occurred, and this situation would probably continue. The Earth Sword and Chao Yin Sword silently hovered on one side, not saying a word, as if they've already experienced the power of the two girls. Ahem. In fact, Xiaoxi is fine. In fact, I want to see a big boss just now. Here's the thing. After Gu Shan explained everything, Shanu and Luo Bingley both calmed down. "All right, let's go now," Gu Shan said. Only then did the two women enter the longsword. The four swords returned to the void of space behind Gu Shan. This time, the two women's voices finally disappeared. The only one left in the world who could speak was Gu Shan herself. He couldn't help but let out a sigh of relief. Looking at the corpses of the soul, Shrieker, and Abyssal Magic Dragon, then at the gold coin in my hand, Gu Shan silently thought. In the future, these two bastards who were schemed to death by me and the Earth Creator will definitely crazily seek revenge. However, all traces of me have been concealed by the Earth Creator. The Earth Creator also gave me a coin with true luck as a safety precaution, so I should be fine on my way back. If worst comes to worst, I can always hide in the Earth world. With that in mind, he released his spirit energy to activate the gold coin. Ting ting, the gold coin let out a clear chime. A golden light enveloped Gu Shan and instantly vanished from this era. The primordial heaven realm fell into true silence. No one knew who else would return to this world. On the other side, Gu Shan continued to travel through the endless fog. The gold coin was letting out a cheerful chime, giving off a golden glow in front of him as it carried him forward. Below the fog of space-time, a long river of light flowed without stopping. This was the river of time, eternally still. Only the living beings on the river continued to move forward, reaching their destination at a certain point in the river. Gu Shan was currently flying forward at a speed faster than any other living being. Within the river of time, some gigantic monsters would occasionally leap out with their jaws wide open, devouring the unknown entities that were shrouding the river or the fog. Each time, Gu Shan would be able to avoid being devoured by the monsters. But these monsters that originated from the river of time didn't always win. One time, Gu Shan clearly saw a small pixie take out a short stick and lightly poke it towards a monster. The monster instantly disappeared. Monsters that originated from the river of time were killed just like that, or turned into a cake or something, because the small pixie was grabbing a piece of cake and wolfing it down. Such a scene flashed by in an instant. Gu Shan couldn't help but sigh. I was truly fortunate to be able to see a pixie with my own eyes. Back then, when Bali's leg was injured as a spatial mage, Meow personally went to search for the kingdom of the pixies in order to help him heal, but couldn't find them. In the end, it was Buttercup who gave him a crystal-clear pixie flower that healed Bali's leg injury. Everyone knew about the existence of the pixies, but no one knew exactly where the kingdom of the pixies was. These anecdotes from the 900 million world layers quickly flashed through Gu Shan's mind. After an unknown amount of time and an unknown place, Gu Shan continued to fly forward until the fog around him no longer dissipated. He also stopped moving along the river of time. He realized that he had arrived at the future. Ding, 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 ding. Clang, 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 clang. The gold coin let out a panicked noise. The coin was carrying Gu Shan along this part of the river of time, but it didn't stop. Gu Shan had no choice but to follow the gold coin back and forth. At first, he felt that this was strange, but gradually, Gu Shan's heart became heavy. The gold coin has true luck, but it still refused to enter a certain moment. What does this mean? Gu Shan felt a chill in his heart and couldn't help but ask, "There's no place to land?" Ding ding. The gold coin let out a sound of confirmation. Gu Shan became anxious. True luck can ensure my safety, but the gold coin that activated this technique still couldn't land. Could it be that this part of the future that belongs to me is a dead end? After a while, the gold coin still couldn't find a place for Gu Shan to go down. They had already wasted a lot of time. The gold coin returned to Gu Shan's hand and sent a telepathic message to him. This time, true luck can only last for several 10,000 years. It's about to run out. This was the thought that the gold coin was trying to convey. Gu Shan looked down at the glowing river of time below. The river was silent, reflecting the images of countless worlds. All of a sudden, a gigantic temporal monster appeared from the river, flew past Gu Shan, bit an invisible entity, and fell back into the river of time. Just a bit more, and it would have bitten Gu Qin-shan. Gu Qin-shan's mind quickly turned and asked again, "How much longer can true luck last?" The coin sent another message, 3 minutes. "Keep going, keep looking," Gu Qin-shan encouraged it. "Got it." The gold coin once again flew up, bringing Gu Qin-shan around this part of the river of time. Several times, the gold coin almost brought Gu Qin-shan into a certain fragment of space-time, but the very last moment, it forcibly stopped above the surface of the river of time and flew back up, hiding itself and Gu Qin-shan in the thick fog. There were also hidden fatal traps within that fragment of space-time. The gold coin continued to fly around. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Only 30 seconds left. The gold coin circled around Gu Qin-shan once, letting out a sorrowful cry. It really couldn't find a place where Gu Qin-shan could survive. Time continued to pass. The last 10 seconds. Gu Qin-shan gritted his teeth, abruptly reached his hand out, caught the gold coin, and activated the warp technique on it. A golden flash. The gold coin took him in another direction and flew towards the edge of this part of the river of time. That was the Earth world that belonged to this era. A dark sky. Thunder rumbled. Torrential rain poured down. The world was like a vast ocean pouring down in torrents. A streak of light broke through the sky and flashed across the night sky. Gu Qin-shan caught the gold coin and put it in his chest. He fell along with the rain for a while. Only when he noticed that there weren't any restraining laws around him did he fly back up. My cultivation and power aren't being restrained at all. This doesn't seem like the Earth world at all. What the hell? What exactly is going on here? After the events of the Age of Old, the 3 abyssal demons have always held a grudge against me, still wanting to steal the twin swords heaven and earth, so they most likely made preparations in the future to weave one trap after another for me. It makes sense that the gold coin wasn't willing to take him into that space-time. But why did the Earth world also seem to be undergoing some sort of eerie change? Gu Qin-shan reached his hands out, wielding the Heaven Sword and Earth Sword respectively. The Chowing Sword and 6 Paths Great Mountain Sword manifested at the same time to protect his sides. He hovered alone in the middle of the world's heavy rain, standing in the air and observing his surroundings. The heavy rain blurred his vision. However, he easily released his divine sense and swept it in all directions. Other than the rain, there were no other living beings in this world. Gu Qin-shan couldn't hold back his surprise anymore. Following the direction of his inner sight, he fell into a large ruin. He stood still for a few moments. Gu Qin-shan suddenly raised his voice. "Esteemed sir, are you there?" Tap, 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 tap. The torrential rain slammed against the cement floor, giving off a boiling sound. Thunder resounded. Lightning illuminated the night sky, but was quickly swallowed up by darkness. No one answered. The gold coin in his hand let out a series of screeching noises. Gu Qin-shan pulled his black cloak tighter and began to walk through the ruins of the city. Collapsed skyscrapers, abandoned train stations, rusted metal bridges, overgrown roads. After a while, other than ruins, there was nothing but ruins, no signs of life at all. Gu Qin-shan stopped. He walked to the side of the road, pushed a collapsed wall with his hand, and sent countless items flying. A broken gigantic object laid motionlessly on the ground, quickly drenched by the rain. Gu Qin-shan stared at it, stunned. Lightning once again flashed across the sky, instantly illuminating this scene. A deserted, abandoned city. A sword cultivator wearing a black cloak. A destroyed mech. This looks like a post-apocalyptic world. Gu Qin-shan blankly stood still, analyzing everything in his mind. All of a sudden, a clear voice resounded in his mind. Ting. Chapter 945. The Howling of the Torrential Rain. The night wind howled above the barren ruins. Gu Qin-shan silently stood in the rain without moving. The war god Ui had reappeared on his body and was communicating with him. "Welcome back to the future. Gu Qin-shan, how long have I been gone? It's been 1 year and 79 days since you were sealed in the drifting sand world, Strange. I should have returned to the moment I left. So why did it take 1 year and 79 days to go forward? You'll have to ask the thing that brought you back. Gu Qingshan looked up. The gold coin was hovering in front of him, occasionally letting out a sorrowful cry. Gu Qingshan cleared his throat and asked, I have a question. Why did we skip over a year of time? The gold coin let out a series of clanking noises. Back in Shunwu world, Gu Qingshan had already obtained the ability to communicate with weapon spirits, so he understood right away. You mean I have to skip over a year of time, otherwise I'll definitely be killed? Gu Qingshan confirmed again. Ding ding. The gold coin let out a definite chime. Gu Qingshan sincerely replied, Thank you for the luck you brought. If I had used the 3 coins of humanity to return, it would have been hard to tell what would have happened to me. Ding, ding, ding. Dong dong, the gold coin tiredly replied. Too tired? Then let's rest for a bit. Gu Qingshan replied. The gold coin slowly fell into his hand. He carefully put it away in his inventory bag. Gu Qingshan silently recalled everything that happened and sighed. It's already been over a year. I wonder how the 900 million world layers is doing right now, the war god UI replied. The most important thing is that you've returned alive, and you've even brought back the heaven sword. Lines of glowing text appeared in the void of space, frowny face quest description. This is the elegy of humanity from the age of old. You must constantly struggle against the divine race, desolate race, evil creatures and abyssal monsters, searching for a sliver of hope for the survival of your race, as well as the weapon that will decide the outcome of this war. The Heaven Sword. You've obtained the Heaven Sword. War God Quest completed. You've received this War God Quest reward. War God title. Sword Demon is now yours. War God title. Sword Demon. Equipping this title will allow you to activate the title skill. True Soul, Severing Eyes. True Soul, Severing Eyes. Ignore space and time. Instantly pull all enemies you see into a temporarily created space and attack them. Note, this title is formed from your understanding of swordsmanship. It will continue to strengthen as your swordsmanship improves. Gu Qingshan looked at the options for War God title. Sure enough, the title Sword Devil was already ranked behind Mighty General, Ace Assassin, Talented General, and other titles. Title, Starflame War God, was once again available for use. Gu Qingshan suddenly realized, I've been through so much that I've forgotten to issue a War God quest. I will not forget. The War God UI replied. Do you have any suggestions for what to do next? Gu Qingshan asked. None. You must make your own decisions. The War God UI replied. Gu Qingshan was a bit surprised, but quickly realized. That's right. Everything will be decided by me, Gu Qingshan. This is how the War God UI does things. Completely different from the Demon King order. The corner of Gu Qingshan's lips curled up. All right, since this is my only path of survival, let's take a look at this world first, he muttered and walked towards the huge object that was soaked in the rain. This was a destroyed, ambush-type mech. When he faced his tribulation, he returned to the future Mahesvara realm from the age of old, as well as the Earth world of the same era, leaving behind a mech in the Earth world. This mech in front of him was covered in rust, apparently damaged for a very long time. Its design and components were improved for what I designed at the time, but they were only minor adjustments. That's right, it's only been a bit more than a year. This world's technology was still in the early stages of mech research, so it didn't have the ability to make any major technological changes to the mechs that I designed. Gu Qingshan carefully observed the ruined mech. Several critical parts of the mech were broken, warped, and completely ruined. Even its mechanical system had been destroyed. The mech's components were scattered all over the ground, most of them unusable. Gu Qingshan walked around the mech once, then reached her hand out to touch its cold metal exterior. As if the mech had run into an opponent that it couldn't possibly win against, it was completely destroyed by the other party's overwhelming power. What exactly was it that was able to destroy the mech so easily? Gu Qingshan walked up to the cockpit of the mech, leaned in, and lightly pressed a button on a hidden spot. Click! The mechanical latch was stuck, so the thing inside couldn't be pulled out. This was an extremely intricate component that couldn't be destroyed through brute force. Normally, you need an electronic authorization to open it. taking into consideration that if the electronic system were to break down, this place would automatically lock up. So, I've also designed a manual switch. However, the manual method required a corresponding mechanical tool to operate it. Guqing Shan put her hand on her inventory bag and stopped. The last time I came to this world, I left my personal hollow brain and many small mechanical tools here. At the time, I didn't even have time to retrieve them before I was teleported back by the Earth Creator. Who knows where those things are right now? Right now, I don't have any suitable tools to deal with the current situation. Guqing Shan thought for a bit and appeared cautious. He casually took out the Heaven's Sword from the void of space and aimed it at a metal plate next to the latch. Carefully controlling the force, he focused. Strike. Clang, 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 clang. A series of 6 almost inaudible strikes. 7 to 8 parts jumped out from the metal plate's latch at the same time. Bam! The mechanical latch opened in response. Inside was a long black metal box about the size of a palm. Guqing Shan sighed in relief and pressed his hand on the black box. The black box jumped out and landed in his hand. At the same time, Luo Bingli's aggrieved voice resounded from the Heaven's Sword. Heaven's choice is used to kill the enemy. I didn't think the first time you used such a powerful ability was to repair something. What happened just now was more important than killing the enemy. Guqing Shan sincerely replied. Just for this black box? What is it? Luo Bingli asked. It records the process and data of every battle, allowing us to see what happened in the past, Guqing Shan replied. You're already dead, yet you can still remember what happened in the past. What a miraculous item. Luo Bingli muttered in relief. The Heaven's Sword returned to silence. Guqing Shan carefully put the black box away. Now I need to find the appropriate equipment to read what was recorded in the black box. In any mecha maintenance area, there should be corresponding equipment and equipment. Guqing Shan released his 3,000 Worlds Realm Inner Sight to scan the entire city. Roads, buildings, corpses, trees, rivers, etc. None of them could escape Guqing Shan's inner sight. Unfortunately, mechs were weapons of mass destruction that weren't common in this world, so all items related to mechs were strictly controlled and not easy to find. The entire city was a desolate wasteland of death, with no signs of life to be found. Not a single intact building could be found, so there was no value in searching. Guqing Shan wasn't willing to give up, so she continued to spread her inner sight in every direction, searching for anything on the ground. Finally, in a secluded area 300 miles away from the city, Guqing Shan found a hidden cluster of buildings. The sign of a military research facility hung on the entrance of the building, which was also a scene of post-disaster devastation. Although the entire research facility was destroyed, a portion of the facility's mech maintenance facility seemed to be able to be repaired. That's enough. In this ruined world, if there was any place that could help Guqing Shan read the contents of the black box, it would be this place. Chapter 946. Guqing Shan was flying at a slow pace in the sky. Along the way, he purposefully observed his surroundings and found many traces of battle. This was a full-scale war from the cities to the outskirts to the forests. Many places had suffered great damage. This world's retaliation was very tenacious, but unfortunately, their enemies seemed to have exceeded their expectations. Guqing Shan saw a mountain. The entire mountain seemed to have been blasted open by some sort of power, forming a large crater that extended deep underground. There were also a lot of mech remains and human skeletons at the scene. Guqing Shan landed, took a few black boxes from each mech, and continued his journey. 20 minutes later, he arrived at the military research facility. Looking down from above, all he could see was scorched black earth and collapsed buildings. The twisted wreckage of the plane lay across the bombed runway. The wind and rain poured down from the night sky, sprinkling on the ruins. Guqing Shan landed. He arrived at the mech maintenance workshop and casually used a telekinesis hand seal. All the rubble and debris on the workshop floor were lifted off the ground and sent flying. Guqing Shan entered the workshop. The broken pieces of machinery in front of him were pushed away by an invisible force to make a path for him. Scanning around with his inner sight, Gu Qingshan quickly understood the general situation. A lot of things can still be repaired. Unfortunately, the power has already been cut off, so the maintenance mechanical arm can't operate. That shouldn't be a problem. Gu Qingshan leapt onto the mech maintenance workbench and waved his hand. A large maintenance mechanical arm that was 9 meters long and 2 meters wide flew over and hovered in front of him. Gu Qingshan found the mechanical arm's power port and used his sword to cut open the rubber tube to reveal the electrical wire. He then reached his hand out to grab the electrical wire. Beep, beep, beep. An electronic sound was heard. The large maintenance mechanical arm moved a bit. According to this world's electricity standards, Gu Qingshan converted the power of lightning into a stable and fixed voltage current, continuously sending it into the large mechanical arm for operation. All right, now it's time to repair the comprehensive incident inquiry instrument. Actually, if it wasn't for the fact that the area of damage was too big, we wouldn't have to go through so much trouble, but we still need to replace the parts that need to be replaced. Gu Qingshan muttered to herself. He began to repair the machine. All the systems and components of the assault-type mobile mech were made by him, so the current mechanical repair wasn't difficult for him at all and could only be considered as a basic job. Time passed slowly. 40 minutes later, the comprehensive accident inquiry device was repaired. Gu Qingshan dropped the large mechanical repair arm and strode to the machine. He connected the machine with one hand and took out the black box with the other, placing it into the machine. The machine began to operate. Gu Qingshan's hand quickly clicked on the instrument and finally pulled out the record from the black box. The comprehensive incident investigator projected a screen into the void of space. The holographic image flickered and gradually stabilized. Gu Qingshan saw an orderly formation of mobile mechs. A voice followed Frowny Face Fox 1, calling for Iron Rhino. This is Iron Rhino, awaiting your orders, sir. The aliens are attacking the Parliament building, requesting immediate reinforcements. Roger, roger. The mech formation began to move. They moved at full speed, traversing through the war-torn alleys until they reached the front of the Parliament building. The camera turned to the sky. A man in a black robe was hovering in the air. He was holding a burning flame in his hand. Foolish unbelievers, allow me to borrow the power of the great death god to show you how insignificant and powerless you are in front of the holy church of death. The flame was thrown out and quickly enlarged in front of the camera. Boom! The entire world turned into a sea of boiling lava and flames. Desperate screams resounded without end. The camera was sent flying, tumbling down to the ground, even further away. The screen went black. The black box's recording ended here. Gu Qingshan was stunned for a while. Black robe, death god, holy church of death. This is one of the 7 holy churches of the strife zones. Why would they dare to invade the Earth world? The power of the Earth creator isn't something the divine race can go up against. The fog was thick and heavy. Gu Qingshan took out the black box and put it into another black box. The holographic screen lit up again. All mechs, prepare for battle. Understood. The mechs began to run. A gentle female voice resounded. The secret of power lies in devoutly serving the god of mysteries. Following this voice, something in the sky let out a sharp screech as it descended towards the mechs. The camera shook violently. The screen went black. Gu Qingshan stayed silent for a bit before taking out the black box. That was a follower of the god of mysteries. He then put all the black boxes he collected on the screen. All 7 holy churches appeared on the screen of the war, not a single one missing. In other words, the ones who initiated the destruction of the Earth world were the 7 holy churches of the strife zones. What exactly is going on here? Gu Qingshan jumped down from the maintenance platform, grabbed the large mechanical arm with one hand, and headed towards the Military Research Institute's communication center. This place was practically leveled to the ground. Perhaps it was because they looked down on and underestimated this world's military power, or perhaps the divine officials who destroyed this place didn't really understand science. But most of the communication cables and equipment weren't damaged too badly. After spending a few hours, Gu Qingshan finally fixed the communication center's mainframe computer. Using the same method he used to hack into the country's defense system, he began to hack into it again. Very quickly, the computer connected to the country's central defense database and downloaded all the footage of the war recorded by the satellites, as well as every surveillance device in the world. This world's central defense database was located several thousand meters below a desert and was in a state of complete secrecy. When the construction was completed, everyone who participated in the construction died due to various accidents. This world also quickly forgot about them. Gu Qingshan believed that this was all part of the Earth Creator's preparations. Unfortunately, it went to the age of old and never returned. Only a few people in this world knew about the existence of this database. Who knows what kind of ups and downs it went through, but this database was fortunate enough to be preserved. Gu Qingshan began to watch the war recorded by this world. This was a war whose goal was to destroy. Having lost its master, the Earth world could only face destruction against the power of the 7 holy churches of the strife zones. The slaughter was cruel, merciless, and inhumane. Gu Qingshan watched the scenes on the screen without changing his expression. At a certain point, he suddenly paused the screen. He saw a familiar person, the beautiful girl with crimson hair and a long black scythe in her hand. Anna, Gu Qingshan muttered. Anna also participated in the war. Gu Qingshan looked at the girl on the screen and froze for a long time. This can't be right. Anna isn't someone who likes to bully the weak, so why would she appear in the land of slaughter? Gu Qingshan immediately took action. His hands quickly moved across the keyboard, pulling up all the images related to Anna and watching them one by one. Anna wasn't in charge of the war. Her job was to pick out humans worth nurturing from this world and bring them back to the Holy Church. During the slaughter of the other holy churches, she had tried to stop them several times, but the one who ended up being a laughingstock was her. As Gu Qingshan watched the images, he became more and more doubtful. How strange. When did you learn to swallow your anger? This isn't like you at all, he muttered and continued to watch all of Anna's images. Very quickly, one of the images caught Gu Qingshan's attention. On the night before Anna was about to leave this world, she went to the capital of this world's country by herself, arriving at the capital airport. The capital airport was littered with corpses. Not a single living person could be found. Both the people of this world and the people of the 7 holy churches didn't care about this worthless place anymore. Over half of the airport was destroyed. Only a few cameras were still working. Anna quickly entered the airport's mech maintenance center. She stood there, anxiously pacing back and forth while muttering something. Gu Qingshan's heart started beating faster. That's right, this mech maintenance center was where I once stayed. It was here that I designed a mech, removed the threat of the undead in this world, and received the Earth Creator's appreciation. But that was over a year ago. How would Anna know that I was here? What could she do even if she came here? She wouldn't even be able to see me. On the screen, Anna was putting something away in a secluded location. Unfortunately, the camera wasn't very clear, and it couldn't record voices like the black box. Gu Qingshan couldn't tell what it was, nor could she hear what Anna was saying. At this point, several people from the 7 holy churches came in. They were obviously prepared for this and began to question Anna. Anna shook her head and didn't bother to explain herself no matter how many times they questioned her. They couldn't do anything about it. All of a sudden, one of the divine officers took out a cluster of flames and abruptly put it on the ground. The entire screen went black. Gu Qingshan's heart tightened, then immediately pulled out a camera from another direction of the airport. In the dark of the night, a violent explosion suddenly rang out in the mech maintenance center. Several figures flew out and landed on the ground outside. Anna also landed unscathed. Gu Qingshan sighed in relief. Anna turned to look at the destroyed mech maintenance center and became agitated. Regardless of what she left inside, it had already been destroyed by that attack just now. Anna's eyes were bloodshot as she drew a long-handled scythe covered in black flames and charged at those people. They only managed to block a few times before realizing that she really was going to kill them, so their expressions changed and quickly ran away. Anna chased after them and directly killed the person who destroyed the mech maintenance center. That was where the footage ended. The next day, Anna left the Earth world dejectedly. Watching everything, Gu Qin fell into thought. Anna, she obviously knew that I was there. Other than that, there's no other explanation for why she would appear there. Anna put something away in a secluded location. All of this was completely inexplicable. But Gu Qin believed that Anna wouldn't do something meaningless. Unfortunately, she was discovered. The other party destroyed everything she had set up. Gu Qin sighed. If that's the case, I won't be able to find out what exactly Anna did. He stayed silent for a while. A thought flashed through his mind. Wait a minute. Gu Qin slowly realized something. He thought for a bit and confirmed that it was feasible. After that, he rested in this secluded research facility for the next day. After all, after going through so much, he needed to loosen up his tense nerves a bit. For the next few days, Gu Qin made a trip to the desert and found this world's main defense database deep inside the desert. Unfortunately, there weren't any preparations left behind by the Earth Creator. Gu Qin didn't lose heart and stayed in the desert, practicing his swordsmanship every day while organizing the knowledge and experiences he gained from the age of old. Without knowing it, 10 days had passed. It was now that Gu Qin set off and arrived at the capital's airport. He returned to the mech maintenance center that had already been burnt to a crisp and stood still in the middle of the ruins. He waved his hand. The heaven sword appeared in his hand. His sword chi surged forward. Secret art, drawn shadow. Streaks of sword shadows were like blooming flowers, quickly filling the entire mecha maintenance center and even extending toward the direction of the spaceport. Countless sword shadows flashed back and forth, completely reducing the ruins of the mech maintenance center to dust. A split second later, a perfectly intact mech maintenance center appeared where it was. Gu Qin held the heaven sword and observed the mech maintenance center. Following his memory, he walked to where Anna hid something and reached his hand inside. Something had been drawn out by him. Indeed, after waiting for 10 days, chaotic flow had finally cooled down. Chaotic flow. When the heaven sword strikes an entity, you can make that entity skip the current moment until the moment of your choosing. Description: activating this ability requires a corresponding amount of soul points to the entity's strength. Special note: after activating chaotic flow, you must wait for 10 days before you can activate this ability again. Chapter 947. Gu Qin looked at the item in her hand. This was a thick black suitcase that Anna had hidden inside the mech maintenance workbench. Not too long after she hid it, those people came in. They've burned this place to the ground, destroying the black suitcase as well. Because of that, Anna was so enraged that she wanted to kill them. And now, borrowing the power of chaotic flow, the destroyed suitcase once again appeared in Gu Qinshan's hand. Gu Qinshan tried to open the suitcase. Strangely, the suitcase was completely sealed shut. There wasn't a single opening to be seen. While Gu Qinshan was trying to think of a solution, a pop was heard. A card popped out from the suitcase. The card depicted an eyeball that was seriously observing Gu Qinshan. Your identity has been confirmed. It's really effortless to find you so quickly. Searching for the person connected to Anna's life force. This quest is complete. The card screeched, then landed on the suitcase. Click. The suitcase was opened. This suitcase is actually a card? Gu Qinshan was surprised. Since when did Anna become a card user? He looked down to see that the suitcase contained a gray uniform, an ID card, a pass, a bag of coins, a card, and a silver box. Gu Qinshan picked up the ID card, only to see that it read, Holy Church of Fate's Substitute Knight, Su Lu Shui. The pass also said, allowed to travel anywhere in the strife zones. Gu Qinshan looked at the ID card and pass, then at the gray uniform, a bit confused. Anna should be a member of the Holy Church of Death. So where did she get this Holy Church of Fate's ID card and pass? Also, how did she know that I would appear here? Gu Qinshan put down the ID card and pass, then looked at the card. The card was covered in a thick gray fog, making it impossible to see anything. When Gu Qinshan picked up the card, the fog dissipated. The card scattered into a mass of light that manifested as a woman. Su Cher. Gu Qinshan raised her eyebrows in surprise. How could Sushare appear in the things that Anna left for him? Sushare's gaze fell on the void, but she did not look at Gu Shan. Obviously, this was just an image. After not seeing her for a long time, Sushare was still as beautiful and pure as ever. However, there was now a trace of indistinct might about her. She began to speak to the void. Qing Shan, if you can see this video, then it means that Anna and I didn't waste our preparations. Not too long ago, the wills of the 7 demons simultaneously issued a divine decree, declaring you to be a blasphemer, believing that you have escaped the seal of the drifting sand world. Right now, the entire strife zones are searching for you. Anyone who manages to capture you will be immediately apatheized. This matter caused such a huge commotion that everyone went insane. Don't underestimate the combatants of strife zones. They have countless methods to track down a single person. Anna and I used all of our power to perform a prophecy through the vitality connection between you and her, and found the place where you are most likely to appear at this point. Su Shui's expression became a bit embarrassed. I'm currently a cardinal of the Holy Church of Fate, so I prepared a new identity for you. While Anna was responsible for bringing these items to the conquered backward world, this identity was specially prepared for you. That silver box is an airship. Put your hand on it and say my name. It will complete its transformation. You will use your disguise to return to the strife zones and find me at the Holy Church of Fate. Anna, and I will be waiting for you. Be very careful. The image faded. Sushare's figure disappeared without a trace. Gu Shan stood still for a while. Sushare was already a cardinal of the Holy Church of Fate. Since Anna was able to casually leave after killing someone here, it seems like her status within the Holy Church of Death isn't low either. The divine oracle clearly said that I'm to be captured, but these 2 girls are working together to secretly think of a way to save me. Gu Shan felt a sense of warmth in his heart. Right after that, he seemed to have thought of something and scowled. He wasn't actually worried about his own situation, but rather the 2 girls. They don't even know what the so-called deities are. The will of the old gods that controls the 7 holy churches and hides behind the scenes might very well be the abyssal fate weaver. In the phantom images, I cut it into threads and scattered them into the countless fragments of parallel worlds. If that's the case, I wonder how long it took for the abyssal fate weaver to reconstruct its body. It definitely hates me to death. Gu Shan rubbed his chin and continued to think. Other than the abyssal fate weaver, the soul shrieker was also under my control, pierced through its head with a spear, then knelt down and died. When it woke up again, the spear was still pierced through its head. Most likely, as soon as it woke up, it wouldn't be able to pull the spear out in time before it died again. In other words, each time it revived, it would only be able to pull the spear out a bit before it was killed again. This would most likely be a very long process. The abyssal magic dragon also died a terrible death. One of its heads was chopped to pieces. I seem to have thoroughly offended these 3 monsters. Gu Shan's gaze fell onto the gray Holy Church of Fate's knight-in-waiting uniform. No, I can't use these things. Sushare and Anna only know about the deities, but they don't know how terrifying the monsters hiding behind them are. The abyssal fate weaver had the fate ability, existence. The soul shrieker was sly and cunning, once manipulating the entire age of old to create weapons for it. As for the abyssal magic dragon, now that the Earth Creator is gone, its mind will probably wake up soon. Once these 3 monsters realize that the 2 girls are related to me, the only thing that awaits the 2 girls is irreversible death. Gu Shan slowly closed the black suitcase. Sushare and Anna had already done everything they could to accomplish this under the monsters' noses. But this is too dangerous. Before I have enough power to deal with these 3 monsters, I definitely can't form any sort of connection with them. Then what should I do now? Gu Shan fell into thought. Sushare's words resounded in her ears again. The entire strife zones are now searching for you. Anyone who catches you will immediately be able to ascend to godhood. Everyone has gone mad. Don't underestimate the combatants of the strife zones. They have countless methods to track a single person. Gu Shan lightly tossed the black suitcase into the air. She then drew the Earth Sword and swung. Dash, Earth's Choice, activate. Earth's Choice, slay all entities. Description: The stronger the target you wish to slay, the more soul points Earth's choice will require. As soon as the black suitcase came into contact with the sword phantom, it was soundlessly erased without leaving a single trace behind. This was the power of a powerful law that originated from the eternal abyss. There was almost no way to restore something that had been destroyed. Even if time was reversed once more, this item would have disappeared forever. Gu Qingshan felt relieved. This way, no one would be able to find out about this matter. The two girls should be safe, and no one would be able to find out about my whereabouts. That alone isn't enough. I need to think about where else there are loopholes. Since this matter involves both Su Xier and Anna, Gu Qingshan became a lot more cautious and began to think about this matter. He walked back and forth in the empty storeroom, slowly pacing back and forth. The only question he had was, why did Anna come to the mech maintenance center in the first place, and why did she kill someone out of anger? If any of the higher-ups of the Holy Church had this question in mind, they would only need to issue a few orders to summon a powerful force to investigate this matter. With that in mind, Gu Qingshan became a bit more cautious. How should I cover this up? Now that I think about it, the Earth world was only destroyed half a month ago. If someone were to descend into this world to investigate Anna's murder, what would happen next? Gu Qingshan stopped and carefully thought about it. If someone could travel back in time like I did, wouldn't that mean they would be able to restore the entire maintenance center? In the boundless universe, there are all sorts of strange abilities. I can't underestimate anyone, and I can't rely on luck. The people who came to investigate Anna were definitely experts. They would definitely find a way to get to the bottom of things and find out Anna's motive for entering the mech maintenance center. They would look for any clues that Anna left behind. Fortunately, I've already destroyed the black suitcase, so there's no way to trace it anymore. Without any evidence, there's naturally no way to prove that Anna did anything. However, the lack of evidence also proves that there's definitely something wrong here. The people who came to investigate will continue to suspect Anna, as well as pay more attention to her with more interest. Gu Qingshan looked up at the ceiling, lost in thought for a while. Right now, the entire mech maintenance center is in the exact same state where Anna placed the black suitcase. If I have to do something to cover for her, I have to do it now. Gu Qingshan continued to think. What exactly was destroyed that could properly explain Anna's rage and murder? A few moments later, Gu Qingshan's inner sight spread out to cover the entire city. This world was destroyed very quickly. Every force that could resist was mercilessly destroyed. The most talented were selected and taken away. The rest were eliminated. But there were also a few non-threatening structures that weren't destroyed to the fullest. For example, large supermarkets or various shops. Gu Qingshan disappeared from the mech maintenance center, reappearing in a large supermarket, then a pharmacy. He found a few items that were still intact, then returned to the mech maintenance center. After a bit of hesitation, Gu Qingshan chose one of the two female products he chose, processed it a bit, then put it into the hidden compartment of the maintenance platform. If someone could restore the entire mech maintenance center to the exact same state that Anna was in, then that person would definitely search for the item that Anna left here. And then that person would find this item and perfectly explain everything. Gu Qingshan recalled everything and nodded in satisfaction. Chapter 948. In the dark and rainy night, the raging flames illuminated the sky. Gu Qingshan stood at a distance, silently looking at the mech maintenance center that was once again burnt down. This building was still in the same state as before it was burnt down, and this was merely a repeat of the process. After a single trip to the age of old, Gu Qingshan had already become a 3,000 worlds realm great cultivator, a Lord-class combatant even within the 900 million world layers, and one of the strongest Lord-class combatants at that. With his current realm and understanding of power, it was a simple matter for him to use the 5 elemental flames to simulate the technique that burnt down the maintenance center. Staring at the burning flames, Gu Qingshan muttered, "All right, there's no need to worry about their safety anymore. Next. What should I do next?" According to Anna, countless combatants of the strife zones want to capture me, and they have countless means to track me down. Gu Qingshan touched the silent dust cloak he was wearing. This was an item given to me by the strongest combatant of the bygone era, capable of blocking the power of Magic Dragon's bloodline. Even the Earth Creator praised this cloak for being able to conceal my presence. With this cloak and mystery of all beings equal, the chances of me being caught aren't that high. Guqin Shan stood still for a while, waiting for the flames to die down before he left this place. He returned to the desert of this world, used ground shrink, and entered the secret research room several thousand meters underground. The secret research room hadn't been built for too long, so the Earth Creator had probably just thought of setting up something here. But obviously, it didn't have time to complete its idea. However, this place was well ventilated, well lit, and had all the necessary daily necessities. It was also well hidden, so Guqin Shan decided to return here to rest. Even though the people of the 7 holy churches had already left this world, Guqin Shan still maintained his vigilance and caution. After resting for a bit, he took out the gold coin from his inventory bag. Guqin Shan already had an answer as to why the coin was letting out such a mournful cry. Normally speaking, an extraordinary item like the golden coin would have a spiritual connection with its owner. If something were to happen to Guqin Shan, no matter how far away Shanu and the Earth Sword were, they would immediately sense it. Although he already had a guess, he had to get an accurate answer before he could decide what to do next. The Earth Creator was still alive, trapped, or dead. Each state represented a different meaning, which would also help Guqin Shan decide her next course of action. "Why hasn't your master appeared?" Guqin Shan asked. The golden coin floated up from Guqin Shan's hand and made a series of ding, 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 ding sounds. Guqin Shan was a little confused. According to the gold coin, the Earth Creator had cut off its spiritual connection with it. Under normal circumstances, this connection would only appear if the owner of the coin died or voluntarily disconnected. But the gold coin said that it didn't sense the Earth Creator's death beforehand. Then, could it be that the Earth Creator voluntarily disconnected from the coin? Guqin Shan carefully recalled what happened at the time. When the Earth Creator gave me the coin, it appeared to be a bit reluctant to part with it, and even emphasized that she had to return it to him after he returned. It seems like this coin was quite precious to the Earth Creator, but because Guqin Shan stopped the 3 abyssal devils from stealing the abyssal weapon, he lent it to Guqin Shan to use once. If that's the case, the Earth Creator wouldn't give up on the gold coin so easily. It's neither the first nor the second situation, so what exactly is going on? Guqin Shan thought for a bit and couldn't help but sigh. The Earth Creator's level is too high, able to kill the 3 abyssal devils with just a single card. Such an existence's thoughts and plans. None of the things they do are things that I can't even fathom. Not to mention, before I left the Age of Old, I heard him say that he wanted to take a look at the Abyssal Gate. The current me doesn't have the qualifications to investigate the Abyssal Gate. Everything is still unclear. Guqin Shan looked at the gold coin and continued to ask, "Do you have any other methods to find out the truth?" The gold coin hovered in the air for a while, seemingly hesitant about something. Finally, it circled around Guqin Shan and let out a series of chimes. "What? Wait a minute, I don't understand," Guqin Shan hurriedly said. The gold coin patiently let out a series of chimes. Guqin Shan seriously listened and couldn't help but ask, "Can I really find the Earth Creator's tracks like this?" "Ding dong," the gold coin said. "All right, I won't lose anything from this, and I also want to know if that Great One is still alive or not. As long as you agree, I have no objections," Guqin Shan replied. Hearing him say that, the gold coin didn't wait any longer. It let out a golden glow and hovered in front of Guqin Shan. Guqin Shan put her finger on the golden glow, slowly dragged it in the air, and wrote her name. Lines of glowing text appeared on the War God UI. Blood red text is too blinding. This type of cold glowing text is much more comforting. You formed a covenant with the gold coin. The gold coin is a lost soul artifact of the land of the 4 Saint Pillars. According to the law of the 4 Saint Pillars, when one of the Saint Pillars forms a covenant, the law manifestation soul artifacts of the other 3 Saint Pillars will bear witness. The lines of glowing text disappeared. In a flash, the secret room Guqin Shan was in disappeared. The entire world turned into a vast sea of stars. For some unknown reason, Gu Shan and the gold coin both appeared in this place. Following that, 3 other items appeared: a cyan key, a crimson pendant, a black book. The gold coin flew up and began to communicate with these 3 items. Clink, 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 si, si. Clap, clap, clap. Clap, 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 chirp, 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 chirp. They began to chat with each other. Gu Shan looked at the soul artifacts manifested from the law of the 4 saint pillars with interest. The blue key was the wind key, representing the wind pillar. Its ability was to open all doors and reach all places. The crimson pendant was the flame spirit pendant, representing the flame pillar. Its ability was to create miracles and accomplish unimaginable things. The black book was the book of the seabed, representing the water pillar. Its ability was to record all knowledge. As for the gold coin, it naturally represented the earth pillar. Its ability was true luck. The 4 lost soul artifacts conversed for a bit, then flew around Gu Shan, occasionally whispering to each other as if they were criticizing him. The gold coin continued to let out clanking noises as it explained the situation to the other 3 lost soul artifacts. A few moments later, the 4 soul artifacts hovered in the air, exuding golden, red, blue, and black light that formed a line and resonated with each other. The sound of resonance grew louder and louder, almost passing through the entire vast sea of stars, shaking countless worlds. Right when Gu Shan was about to reach his limit, the sound abruptly disappeared. The starry sky abruptly faded away. Gu Shan found himself still sitting in the secret room, as if everything that happened just now was nothing but an illusion. Ding dong! A tired voice resounded from the sky. The gold coin descended and landed in Gu Shan's hand. "How is it? Did you find that great one?" Gu Shan hurriedly asked. The gold coin let out a series of noises. Gu Shan seriously listened. When all 4 Saint Pillar soul artifacts appear at the same time, they would be able to search for the whereabouts of any entity, regardless of who that entity was or what state they were in. The reason why the gold coin proposed to form a covenant with Gu Shan earlier was to summon the other 3 lost soul artifacts. They searched for the Earth Creator's whereabouts together and found the answer. Ding, ding, dong. Ding, dong, ding, dong. The gold coin muttered in confusion. Gu Shan went silent for a while as he listened. "You mean that great one isn't dead, but isn't anywhere?" he asked again. Ding dong, the gold coin confirmed. "What kind of situation is this?" Gu Shan muttered. Chapter 949. The 41st day after the Earth-world's destruction. Several thousand meters below the desert, inside a secret research room, Gu Shan was calmly sitting there. A pot of spirit tea had been brewed. Gu Shan picked up the pot, poured himself a cup, and took a sip. The spirit tea was fragrant and elegant, having a certain amount of refreshing properties. Under normal circumstances, Gu Shan would drink a bit to pass the time and rest. Only when he needed to be absolutely awake would he brew a pot of spirit tea, slowly drink, and slowly think. Indeed, he was trapped in this destroyed world. Regardless of what happened to the Earth Creator, this was a fact that couldn't be changed. As a 3,000 worlds realm cultivator, Gu Shan could naturally cut open the void of space and travel to another world by himself. But what was outside the Earth world? The abyss or the 900 million world layers? Were there abyssal monsters watching from the shadows? How would I return to the 900 million world layers from here? Everything was unknown. Gu Shan drank the entire cup of tea, then poured himself another. He silently pondered. After an unknown amount of time, he held the cup of tea, stood up, walked to the end of the secret room, opened the large-scale data storage system, and began to look through the knowledge and information stored in this world. The last time he entered this world, he had already broken through the world's network defense system and obtained the corresponding authority. So entering the system again was as easy as flipping his hand over. If you've prepared this place, I don't believe that there aren't any clues at all, Gu Shan muttered as he flipped through the data. A great entity like the Earth Creator would never do anything useless. As soon as he entered this world, Gu Shan had already skimmed through the data. Other than a few mech designs that were of some value, there wasn't anything else that caught Gu Shan's attention. This time, Gu Shan was a lot more serious. The large-scale data storage system was still very old, so even if it was operating at full capacity, the speed at which it could display data was still very limited. And the entire data storage system contained all of this world's knowledge and information, so it wasn't an easy task to display all of it at once. Gu Shan did her best to search for information and spent several days. However, this information still did not provide him with any valuable information. Gu Shan did not give up. She pulled out the addresses of all the research institutions on the map and left the secret library. He began to wander around this destroyed world, searching for all kinds of useful mechanical equipment and spare parts in the ruins. Another 5 days passed. That night, just as Gu Shan was standing in a collapsed research institute, carefully checking the mechanical equipment she had harvested, something suddenly happened. Gu Shan sensed something and abruptly looked up at the sky. Countless shooting stars streaked across the sky, bringing with them a resplendent radiance as they fell to the ground. If it was 1 or 2 meteors, it might be a coincidence, but the sky was filled with a continuous meteor shower that lasted for a long time. This didn't seem like a coincidence. Gu Shan pulled up the hood of the silent cloak and covered her head. Her whole body was hidden in the cloak, hiding in the shadows of the ruins. After a while, when the entire meteor shower had ended, the world returned to silence. Nothing out of the ordinary happened. Gu Shan held her breath, released her inner sight, and carefully scanned the area where the meteors fell. A few spherical devices fell to the ground and emitted a pale green gas in all directions. The ocean, the ground, the deserts, the forests, the former human settlements, so on and so forth. These spherical objects appeared everywhere. What the hell is this? Gu Shan continued to observe. A few dozen breaths later, something strange silently began to appear. Within the ruins of a city, the rotting corpses stood up. They staggered as they slowly moved, apparently regaining the ability to move. Gu Shan was very familiar with this. The undead? Why are they the undead again? Gu Shan was a bit confused. His inventory bag suddenly opened as the gold coin jumped out. Why did you come out? Gu Shan asked. The gold coin appeared to be in a hurry, as it explained for a long time. Following its explanation, Gu Shan slowly understood. So the Earthworld's laws have been restored. The gold coin was created from the Earthworld's world origin. From a certain point of view, it was this world's artifact spirit. Before, it was taken away from his space-time by the Earth Creator to travel to the Age of Old. Under such circumstances, the Earthworld was like a soulless human, unable to actively defend against any attacks. But now the gold coin had returned. As long as it remained in this space-time, the Earthworld's laws would be protected. In other words, this world had once again become a magic-sealing world. No mystical power would be able to work here. Gu Shan couldn't help but fall into thought. With the Earth Creator's strength, normally no one would dare to act rashly. The Earth Creator had always been cautious and never gave its enemies any chance to take advantage of it. It was only during this temporary trip to the Age of Old that an unexpected situation occurred. This was something that couldn't be helped. Gu Shan carefully recalled the entire timeline of events. The Earth Creator created a secret database room, led me to resolve the problem of the undead, then personally went to the Age of Old to stop the abyssal monster scheme to steal the Heaven Sword. Even if this was only a simple operation, the Earth Creator still carried the gold coin with him and carefully hid behind the scenes, subtly influencing everything around him. From start to finish, it didn't even act personally. All of this clearly showed just how cautious the Earth Creator was. All of its countermeasures were cautious and perfect, allowing it to obtain victory in the end. However, after successfully stopping its enemies in the Age of Old, the Earth Creator relaxed a bit. It didn't bring the gold coin with it and returned with Gu Shan. With that in mind, Gu Qingshan's heart sank. The Earth Creator wasn't in its own magic ceiling world. The Earth Creator didn't bring the lucky coin with it. It went alone to search for a secret of the age of old. This was the only flaw that the Earth Creator revealed during this entire gamble. Who could have known that just a brief moment of separation from the gold coin would cause it to fall into an unknown state of life and death? Gu Qingshan sighed as the shadow in his heart grew heavier. He realized something horrifying. An entity as powerful as the Earth Creator only needed to reveal a single flaw before disappearing. It was almost impossible for something like this to happen to it to be a coincidence. Then, who was it that was spying on the Earth Creator from the shadows? The Earth Creator was able to influence the entire battle without the three abyssal devils noticing. Who was it that saw through the Earth Creator's carelessness and made it disappear from the face of the Earth without the Earth Creator noticing? Gu Qingshan shook his head and didn't think about it anymore. This isn't something I can think about right now. Thinking about it will only make me feel more despair. The first thing I need to face right now is the meteor shower that just happened. Gu Qingshan opened his palm and began to check his own situation. Zzz, following the sound, a blue arc of lightning appeared on his palm, illuminating the darkness around him. That can't be right. I can still use my powers, Gu Qingshan doubtfully asked. The gold coin once again let out a series of ding-ding-ding noises. Hearing that, Gu Qingshan realized. So it turns out that I've formed a covenant with the gold coin, which means I've become a partner of the Earth world, which allowed me to use my powers. And now, I'm the only entity in the entire world who can use my powers. Of course, there's no one else in the Earth world right now. Seeing that Gu Qingshan understood, the gold coin hurriedly let out another series of ding-ding noises. As Gu Qingshan slowly listened, his expression turned serious. This matter was so serious that he couldn't help but ask again. You're saying that they came to pollute and destroy the Earth world. Once they succeed, the balance maintained by the four saint pillars will be broken, and the apocalypse of the abyss will spread to the 900 million world layers. Chapter 950. As soon as they entered this world, they would lose all of their powers. For anyone, this was a very dangerous thing to do. Since the laws of the Earth world had been restored, the people of the 7 holy churches wouldn't come. Against an uninhabited world, using pollution was the safest and most efficient method. After all living beings in this world had already gone extinct. The world itself wouldn't be able to deal with these things. The gold coin let out a fearful clanking noise. It was the soul of the Earth world, and the Earth world was its body. If the Earth world was destroyed, it would also die with it. You want me to use my cultivation and the twin swords heaven and earth to eliminate all of these pollution sources? Gu Qingshan asked. The gold coin hurriedly moved up and down, expressing that this was exactly what it wanted. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and slowly replied, That's actually not a good idea. Not only would I need a lot of soul points to do this, but it would also be too passive. The next time the other party unleashes a similar attack, I will be exhausted from running for my life. Not to mention, I can't stay in this world forever. After I leave, what would happen to this place? Imagining that scenario, the gold coin let out an even more desperate wail. Don't worry, Gu Qingshan consoled it. No one can enter right now, and there's no one else in this world. It's very simple to resolve this once and for all. The gold coin froze. Gu Qingshan held the gold coin in his hand and disappeared. A few thousand miles away, Gu Qingshan directly appeared in the air above a ruined building. Before the apocalypse, this place used to be the ambush-type mech manufacturing center. Gu Qingshan drew the heaven sword. He unleashed a gigantic sword phantom that smashed the entire ruin into a crater. At the very next moment, a completely new mech manufacturing center appeared in front of him. Although Gu Qingshan had seen it before, he still couldn't help but exclaim in shock. To be able to return something to a certain state in the past, this was nothing short of a miracle. Luo Bingley complained, I've just woken up and you're telling me to go back to sleep again. Gu Qingshan felt a bit apologetic and said, Just this once, I won't make you so tired again. All right, turbulence consumes too much energy. I'm going to sleep now. Luo Bingley yawned and said sleepily. After a while, a light snoring sound came from the heavenly sword. This girl snores in her sleep. Perhaps he was too tired thinking that. Gu Qingshan was a bit worried and couldn't help but ask the earth sword, if I use chaotic flow so frequently, will it burden the heaven sword? The earth sword's mountainous heavy voice resounded. Don't worry. Exercise is good for your health. Gu Qingshan only heard the first two words and ignored the second half. He was too lazy to pay attention to this old driver, or else it would be even more excited. Flying down, she entered the mech manufacturing workshop. Gu Qingshan found the main electrical hub, pulled out a thick wire from inside, and wrapped it around her arm. The power problem was solved. Then, he walked in front of an intact mecha and operated it remotely, taking out the mecha's built-in photon processor. Activating it, debugging it, he confirmed that this hollow brain was similar to his own. It seems this world had spent quite a bit of effort to disassemble and research my personal hollow brain after obtaining it. But they didn't have enough time to thoroughly study their own hollow brain. Gu Qingshan tapped her inventory bag, took out various components, and began to reconstruct her personal hollow brain. About an hour later, her personal hollow brain was done. Gu Qingshan connected it to the mech manufacturing workshop's main system. From a hollow brain's perspective, it wouldn't take much effort to completely suppress this world's mechanical manufacturing system. Gu Qingshan easily took control of the workshop's main system. He began to reconstruct the mech's entire motion model, manufacturing process, system structure, and decision-making system. After spending an entire day and night, it wasn't until the gold coin once again jumped out and cried that Gu Qingshan finished designing everything. Your Excellency, Gu Qingshan, what will you use as the core algorithm to construct a new mech? The personal hollow brain's AI system asked. Gu Qingshan appeared nostalgic. It's been a long time since I've returned to my home world. He thought of impartial goddess. Back then, I used life structure method to help impartial goddess escape from her cage. And now, I'm going to take it one step further. Gu Qingshan regained his composure and spoke. With life structure method as the core, following all of my designs as the foundation, begin manufacturing the first mobile mech. Preparations are complete. Please name the mech, sir. It's called World Creator. It's the beginning of everything. Roger, World Creator entering manufacturing phase in the large mech manufacturing workshop. Various mechanical arms began to work. 10 hours later, a small mech appeared in front of Gu Qingshan. This mech looked a bit strange because it was only 2 meters tall, not much taller than Gu Qingshan. From the looks of it, it looked more like a person than a machine. Gu Qingshan personally placed the miniature power core into this World Creator mech activate. The World Creator's electronic eyes glowed. Countless blue lights flickered in its eyes without stopping. This was the knowledge it was learning. 1 minute later, the blue lights in the World Creator's eyes stabilized. It looked at Gu Qingshan and knelt down on one knee. Godfather, thank you for creating me, the World Creator said. Do you understand what we need to do next? Gu Qingshan asked. Understood. The first step is to build primitive transport robots, collect resources and energy. The second step is to collect the contaminants, then use primitive rockets to transport them out of this world. The third step is to restore this world's energy supply system. The fourth step is to create true mobile mechs, develop weapons, and create a city of machines. The fifth step is to perfect warp technology, achieve worldwide transportation coverage, and turn the surface of the world into metal. The sixth step is to self-study and research, to make the world of robots stronger and stronger. Gu Qingshan clapped her hands. Go, yes. The World Creator walked up to the main system, established a connection with the hollow brain, and controlled the entire mech manufacturing process. One after another, the transport robots were being built. They would carry the heavy responsibility of collecting energy to replace Gu Qingshan's energy source. Originally, Gu Qingshan could have sent the contaminants out of this world herself, but he decided to let the robots do it. It would be safer this way. The gold coin silently observed everything in front of it, then let out a doubtful ding. Don't worry, Guqin Shan told it. In this world, no entity can use supernatural power, so the strongest should be the machines. I'll create a mobile mech world for you. That way, no matter who comes to this world, they will only end up the same, being crushed in a meat paste by these metal machines. The gold coin flipped a few times in confusion. All of a sudden, it let out a cautious ding. What is it? Guqin Shan asked. At the same time, the airport, the ruins of the mech maintenance center. A coin suddenly appeared from the void of space. This was a numbered coin. A door was engraved on the front, and the number 963 was engraved on the back. Among the 1,001 coins in the strife zones, it was one of the rarest, its value immeasurable. Following its appearance, the void of space abruptly opened. Several figures descended. Where did Anna stop after she came in? One of them asked. Another pointed at the broken maintenance platform and replied, I saw it clearly. She went there. Because the maintenance platform was made of half insulator and half metal, even after being burnt by the fire, more than half of it was still in shambles. The first figure shouted, Hurry up! Our temporary warp passage can only last for 1 minute. That's already used up all of the coin's power. Understood, the others replied. Their bodies were large and muscular. Quite obviously, they were all very carefully selected brute force warriors. In fact, they were indeed the strongest group of people in the entire strife zones. Although they couldn't use their supernatural powers, their physical strength was enough for them to move a few particularly heavy objects. For example, the maintenance platform was lifted up as quickly as possible. 10 seconds left. All of you stand here. The leading figure took out a coin, rubbed it a bit reluctantly before flicking it into the air. The coin crumbled to dust, but the power it unleashed remained. Shah, these people, along with the entire maintenance platform, disappeared from the Earth world. The strife zones, the 7 holy churches' secret meeting room. The 7 popes, who represented the will of God, were gathered here. They were the most authoritative figures in the entire strife zones. At the time, Anna came here by herself to place something inside this thing. The Holy Church of Life's Pope asked. Yes, sir, we saw it clearly, one of the cultists replied. The others standing beside him also chimed in. Then, one of you conveniently destroyed the entire place to test Anna's reaction, only to anger her into killing him. The Holy Church of Mysteries Pope asked. Indeed, that is the truth, sir, another cultist replied. Chapter 9:51. Among the VIPs here, the one in the most awkward situation was the Pope of Death. After all, Anna was his subordinate, a person with true authority in the Holy Church of Death. If there really was something wrong with Anna, the entire Holy Church of Death would be cleansed. You don't need to look at me, the Pope said. I am loyal to God. I would never protect my subordinates. Is that so? How about we call upon God's will right now? What do you think, sir? The Pope of Mysteries looked at him with a smile that didn't seem like a smile. Before this Pope ascended to a high position, he had already suffered at the hands of the Holy Church of Death. So as soon as he gained power, he tried his best to obstruct everything related to the Holy Church of Death. The Pope of Mysteries remained expressionless and coldly replied, Whatever, I don't care about this at all. But remember one thing. If there is nothing wrong with Anna, then I hope that you alone will bear the punishment of disturbing God. The Pope of Mysteries' smile froze. Those who were prepared to agree with him also shut their mouths. For the past year, the will of God had rarely appeared, but each time it did, it would always be accompanied by intense, killing intent. If they called upon it but couldn't provide any valuable or good information, they would suffer a terrible fate. 2 VIPs of the Holy Church of Death had already received God's punishment, after being tortured to the point where not even their souls were left. Because of that, as soon as the Pope of Death said that, no one dared to say anything else. No matter how much the Pope of Mysteries hated the Holy Church of Death, he wasn't willing to gamble his own life. The Pope of Mysteries didn't dare to say anything else and instead scolded. Humph. The roots of your Holy Church of Death are already rotten to the core. I'm guessing that there's something wrong with this Anna. Otherwise, why would she kill someone out of anger? The Pope of Death coldly glared at him. You need to be responsible for your words. You're still quite a character when you're alive, but once you're dead, I'll treat you well. We still don't know who'll die first. The Pope of Mysteries exuded killing intent. All right, stop quarreling, you two, to disturb the gods so easily. Could it be that you're tired of living? Shut up. Let us see what the truth of this matter is first. The other VIPs all spoke up. The Pope of Mysteries knew when to stop and no longer insisted on directly summoning the will of God. But he was already prepared and said at this moment, "Madam, it's time for you to make your move." Everyone followed his gaze and looked over. A gray-robed woman stood up and sighed. There's no need to go this far. She was the leader of the Fortune Shrine. Thank you for your trouble. I ask your distinguished self to investigate the truth. This is related to whether or not that girl betrayed the deities. This is an extremely important matter that definitely cannot be let off lightly. The Pope of Mysteries insisted. The other bigwigs also persuaded the gray-robed woman to give it a try. Everyone's attitude towards her was very respectful. After all, anything related to time was no longer something that ordinary spells and secrets could interfere with. People who could control the power of time were extremely rare. This Temple Lord's ability was considered very outstanding among all the time abilities. Even the gods had a high opinion of her. When she made a mistake, they were not willing to give her any punishment. He was the only one among the 7 shrines who had been favored by the deity for a long time. The gray-robed woman looked at the Pope of the Holy Church of Death. Seeing these people's attitude, the Pope of Death suddenly realized that he was being targeted this time. The Pope of Mysteries had schemed for a very long time and made this matter unstoppable. If I object, wouldn't that prove that there really is something wrong with Anna? Furthermore, wouldn't the entire Holy Church of Death have something wrong with them? After a bit of hesitation, the Pope could only helplessly nod. If there really was something wrong with Anna, he wouldn't be able to protect her. How regretful. Such an excellent genius. The Pope regretfully muttered in his mind. The gray-robed woman didn't hesitate any longer, walked straight up to the mech maintenance platform, and carefully observed it. The mech maintenance platform had been burnt into a broken object covered in black ash. Many of the tools and components that were originally placed on top of it had already been destroyed, and many of the special storage areas below the platform could no longer be used. Are you sure that Anna put something here? The gray-robed woman asked. The cultists exchanged glances and nodded. The leader explained, I saw her crouching down as if she was putting something down. When she noticed us coming, she immediately stood up and hurriedly tried to hide it. If that's the case, I have no choice but to expend my power to do this. The gray-robed woman turned to the other bigwigs and continued. This time's temporal technique will use up all of my power, so I will enter the Holy Church of Fate to slumber. During this period of time, if any of you dare to touch my holy church, I will definitely report this to God and ask for God's judgment. The bigwigs could only declare that they would definitely not provoke the Holy Church of Fate. The other party had expended her own power to do this, and none of them were able to do it. If someone tried to do something behind the scenes, they would be able to justifiably ask the will of God to make a judgment. No one was willing to offend her. No one was willing to face the will of God right now. The gray-robed woman continued. After I fall into slumber, the Holy Church of Fate will temporarily be under the control of Cardinal Souchere. Understood, the 2 subordinates who came with her replied. Seeing that everything had been arranged, the gray-robed woman turned to the mech maintenance platform. She lightly placed her hand on the platform and chanted an incantation with a hallucinatory voice. Time is the length of one's life, but is also my contracted partner. Many secrets hidden within time will once again be revealed, as long as time comes to answer my call. Come, let everything return to the moment when Anna placed that item there. In a few moments, the entire mech maintenance platform was completely renewed. No, it wasn't completely renewed, but rather, it had returned to a certain moment in the past. This miraculous scene caused everyone here to be deeply shocked. Did you discover anything? The Pope of Death pretended to be calm and asked. Indeed, at that point in time, Anna had placed something here. The gray-robed woman pondered for a bit before confirming it. The Pope's heart sank. This was the final verdict. After today, The entire Holy Church of Death would most likely face a purge. Countless followers would die. Even the demigods who were on good terms with Anna wouldn't end up well. The gray-robed woman raised her hand and lightly tapped the void of space. All the partitions around the mech maintenance platform opened up. Ah, I can see it. This should be it. As the gray-robed woman waved her hand, an item slowly fell into her hand. The Pope of Mysteries abruptly stood up, laughing like a victor, and loudly declared, "Ah! I knew it would be like that. This is irrefutable proof of the Holy Church of Death betrayal. We should immediately summon the gods." The other VIPs also nodded and began to discuss. The Pope of Death sat there without saying a word, his expression a bit dejected. But no one noticed that the gray-robed woman's expression was a bit strange. "Silence. I have something to ask," she said. Everyone looked at her. The gray-robed woman carefully looked at the item, then at the followers who followed Anna, and asked, "At the time, you saw Anna crouching behind the maintenance platform. Only when she noticed you did she hurriedly stand up to hide herself, correct?" "That is indeed the case, Your Venerable Excellency," the followers excitedly replied. With irrefutable proof, they had done a great deed this time. Their future would be bright. So how could they not be happy? The gray-robed woman's expression was even more subtle. She tore open the box, read the instruction manual, and looked at the item carefully. The Pope of Mysteries couldn't hold himself back anymore and loudly declared, "I want to summon the gods to see for myself." He triumphantly glanced at the Pope of Death and immediately began to cast his spell. The gray-robed woman glanced at him and slowly spoke. "If you want to die at the hands of the gods, I won't stop you." The Pope of Mysteries forcefully stopped his summoning. The reason he was able to sit in this position today wasn't purely because of luck, so he naturally understood the meaning behind her words just now. "You mean," he tried asking. His spell was interrupted by himself, so the recoil caused him to feel a bit nauseous, but he couldn't wait to know a definite answer. The Pope of the Holy Church of Death also looked up with a surprised expression. "Is there still a chance?" The gray-robed woman looked at the VIPs and waved at the Grand Priest of the Holy Church of Life. "What is it?" the Grand Priest asked in confusion. "Take a look at this. Among everyone here, only you and I have studied the Earth world's language, and you are also a woman, so I'm sure you understand the situation as well as I do." The Grand Priest stood up, walked forward, and received the item from her hand. She was stunned for a split second. At the time, Anna was crouching behind the maintenance platform. She muttered and quickly understood. So that's what happened. She exchanged glances with the gray-robed woman, then turned to the Pope of Death at the same time. The Grand Priest pondered for a bit and asked, "Your Excellency, pardon me for asking, is Anna married?" The Pope was a bit confused by the question, but still answered, "She is not. What about the rumors?" The Pope shrugged. "She's a rising star that everyone in the 7 holy churches revolves around. If there were any rumors, I'm sure the two ladies would know about it before I did." The Grand Priest and the gray-robed woman both appeared contemplative. "What exactly is the situation?" The Pope of Mysteries couldn't help but ask. "The situation seems to be different from what I thought. What exactly is going on?" The gray-robed woman explained a bit awkwardly. "This is a technological product. Although it's crude, it doesn't require the use of any magical power. It's extremely effective. To check whether or not you're pregnant." The Grand Priest's explanation was in a completely different style. She didn't try to hide anything. From the description of the believers, Anna crouched down, most likely taking off her pants to check whether or not she was pregnant. Then they rushed and the gray-robed woman followed up and subtly expressed her stance. "If I was the one who was disturbed in such a situation, not to mention that I had to run away from a fire, I would most likely do something irrational in my rage." This was very clear. As a woman, she was already standing on Anna's side. The Grand Priest pondered. At the time, that world was no longer capable of suppressing supernatural powers, so Anna must have been afraid that someone would use some sort of strange power to check her situation. She's a woman. Even she herself would be afraid of such a thing, so she definitely wouldn't want others to know about it first. The gray-robed woman agreed. "This matter is related to one's reputation, so it's best to find a secluded place to avoid being checked by others." And understand the situation first, the Grand Priest continued. Even so, when she was taking off her pants, someone suddenly rushed in to question her and set her on fire. If it was me, I would probably have killed every single one of them to calm myself down. As the two of them finished talking, the entire secret room went silent. Silence filled the air. Not a single person could say a single word. The believers who had been keeping an eye on Anna and were responsible for investigating her situation were already stunned. After causing such a huge commotion and inviting so many big shots, this was the result. Do we even have a way out? As soon as this thought appeared, they trembled in fear and started sweating profusely. The Pope of the Holy Church of Death smiled and shook his head. Thank you, everyone, for being so cautious about the scandals of our Holy Church of Death, spending so much effort to invite the Master of the Holy Church of Fate, and even inviting the gods to listen. He patted the Pope of Mystery's shoulder and spoke in a friendly tone. How about I summon the will of the gods and report these arrangements of yours to them? This would also prove that while managing the Holy Church, you've also done an excellent job in gathering intelligence. Chapter 952. The Earthworld. While the robots were using the simplest of rockets to send the source of pollution out of this world, Gu Qingshan returned to the secret database room at the bottom of the desert. Transforming the entire world into metal won't affect you, will it? He took a sip of tea while asking the gold coin. Ding dong, the gold coin replied. That's good, Gu Qingshan replied. The gold coin once again let out a doubtful ding. Gu Qingshan explained, I'm actually thinking of something like this. I want to turn your world into a machine world specifically designed to counter supernatural powers. The gold coin thought for a bit, felt that it wasn't a big deal, and slowly calmed down. At this point, Gu Qingshan put down the cup of tea and seriously asked, Can you still travel through time? The gold coin let out a no. The reason why it was able to travel back from the age of old was because the Earth Creator attached a spell onto the coin, which allowed it to have both the true luck and the ability to travel through time. In the end, the gold coin's main ability was still the true luck that could be used once every 100 days. Gu Qingshan sighed and typed a line of text on the personal hollow brain. Next to him, frowny face, begin exploration of outer space. Priority. Highest. The order was quickly issued. Seeing this line of text on the screen, the world creator immediately began to adjust the focus of the entire world's construction. All the robots that were constructing the city paused, stopped what they were doing, and began to accept new tasks. Right now, Gu Qingshan had to figure out what the outside world of this world was before deciding what to do. Fortunately, he already had the most advanced technology, so he only needed the robots to do everything for him. Gu Qingshan put the cup of tea away, sat cross-legged, and began to close his eyes to cultivate. He still had enough soul points to use. All his cultivation techniques were recorded in his inner sight. The only thing he needed to do now was to continue cultivating and become stronger. A few moments later, Gu Qingshan entered a deep meditative state. This wasn't the time when he carried the Demon King order, where he could increase his cultivation without any worries. The war god system required him to break through on his own under the premise of understanding it. This was also how Gu Qingshan had been cultivating. Without knowing it, his cultivation had already reached 3,000 worlds realm peak. The next step was the cataclysm. This was a great tribulation that surpassed earth, water, fire, and wind. Countless cultivators had fallen before this tribulation. Xie Guhong had also reached this realm, but because he had too many things he couldn't let go of, and the entire sect had been infiltrated by the divinities, constantly monitoring him, he couldn't find a safe place to peacefully break through, so he kept delaying his breakthrough. Naturally, Gu Qingshan was very cautious. She decided to prepare for a period of time according to the insights of her predecessors before breaking through. After all, not only did he have to go through the tribulation this time, but he also had to see the giant corpse. Sufficient preparations must be made in advance. Cultivation, sword practice, drink tea. Gu Qingshan repeated these 3 things every day. From the looks of it, even if the entire 900 million world layers were to be destroyed, he wouldn't be in a hurry. Time passed quietly. Gu Shan remained unmoved every day. She was as calm as a deep pool of water. One day, Shanu couldn't take it anymore. "Young master." She flew out and landed beside him. What's wrong?" Gu Shan asked. He poured a cup of tea for her and handed it to her. "There's something I don't know if I should say or not," Shanna hesitantly said. "Speak." "The lords who are sealed inside the divine power frost crystals have already been holding on for over a year. They won't be able to hold on much longer." That makes sense. Little Dusk has also been taken away for over a year. Indeed, Susher and Anna are both in the 7 holy churches, so they're most likely in danger. Correct. It's a good thing that you're preparing to break through here. But you'll need to think of another way to save them. Not bad. Shanu, you've improved. Gu Shan smiled and praised her. Shanu felt her heart skip a beat and couldn't help but ask, "So Gongzi already has a plan?" "I do. Don't worry," Gu Shan replied. "But the lords can't hold on any longer. Gongzi, what do you plan to do?" "It's too troublesome to save them one by one, so I won't go." Shanna froze. "Then we're just going to let them slowly die inside the crystals?" she asked in confusion. "No, we only need to save one person, and we can save all of them." "Who?" "The one who brought them to the strife zones, but Lady Black Sea has already been killed," Shanna muttered in a low voice. Gu Shan tilted her head back, finished her spirit tea, and slowly spoke. "Our true mission is to find Little Dusk." "Little Dusk?" Shanna was confused. Isn't she talking about saving Lady Black Sea? Why is she talking about Little Dusk again? Gu Shan replied. "That's right. I've already given the 3 coins to Lola, so I'll be the one to deal with Little Dusk and the Demon King myself." Shanu took a deep breath and said emotionally, "I understand, that's right. Gongzi is truly unbelievable. He actually wanted to use space-time reversal to directly save Lady Black Sea from the Spire's timeline and bring her to this moment." Gu Shan smiled. "Black Sea seems to know a few things about me. Perhaps she's an acquaintance of mine from the age of old. So we need to save her, as well as everyone else at the same time. That's why there's no need to rush. We need to first consider everything before we act. Gongzi, what do you plan to do?" Gu Shan operated his hollow brain again. "Today is the day to explore outer space. Let's see the results together," he said. A screen of light appeared. Countless spaceships rose into the air and flew towards outer space. The world creator appeared below the screen and reported, "Godfather, we'll leave the atmosphere in about 2 minutes. We'll see the true outer space." "All right, I'm paying attention," Gu Shan replied. At this point, the heaven sword flew out and turned into Luo Bingley, landing in front of Gu Shan. "What are these?" She pointed at the spaceships on the screen and curiously asked. Gu Shan gave her a cup of tea and replied, "A type of flying tool, similar to an airship?" "Correct." While they were talking, the spaceships had left the atmosphere and reached outer space. The vast sea of stars. "How beautiful," Luo Bingley sighed. Shanu explained to her, "Every world is different. Some worlds are in the same universe, but on different planets, while others are in another world. For example, the world of the pixies is said to be a single green leaf that floats around. But there are so many fallen leaves in that world that no one knows which leaf they're hiding in. Some worlds are also restricted by the boundaries of their worlds. So they're not in a certain universe, but somewhere else instead." Luo Bingley listened with rapt attention and pondered. "If that's the case, then the distribution of the infinite worlds is actually very chaotic. Indeed, that's why there are also superdimensional worlds that are specifically used to connect different worlds." "What is superdimensional?" Gu Shan didn't talk to them, instead noticing something and turned to the secret database inside the room. Just now, this database had activated its automatic update. A few moments later, a screen of light appeared from the database. A giant covered in gray light appeared from the screen. The Earth Creator. It stared at the void of space and slowly spoke. "I've seen many visions of the future, but 2 of them have the highest possibility of coming true. One of them was this: when the world no longer has any life and machines rule this world, my ally will probe the edge of this world to help him determine the direction of his escape. To be frank, I don't wish for such a vision to happen, because if such a future were to happen, it would mean that I'm in great trouble. However, this is a possible." future, so I need to make some preparations for it. Otherwise, when the Earth world collapses, not only will the gold coin disappear, but I will also lose most of my power. My friend, when you see this image, you will know that I have already encountered that event. Please do not try to investigate it. That is something that you should not even hear about. Receive this star chart, a path that no one knows of has been drawn inside. It will help you return to where you came from. Finally, if all of this truly happened, it would mean that the fate of countless living beings has already been chosen. All of this will lead to the following scenes of the future. The Earth Creator's voice became gloomy and filled with pain, frowny face. The all-out war between the abyss and the infinite races is about to begin. A storm is coming. You must prepare yourself. Do not try to save me. Survive. The Earth Creator's image disappeared. Chapter 953. Within the darkness, the dim stars were sparsely scattered, giving off a faint glow. The entire star chart circled around the secret database room, drawing out a detailed route. The darkness that starlight couldn't reach was marked out with tiny lines of Earthworld text to explain the situation. Frowny-faced darkness is a boundary that cannot be touched or probed. Prehistoric monsters that have fallen into slumber could be hiding in the darkness, or it could be a natural vortex that leads to the abyss, a chaotic passage to the space-time maze, or a warp gate to the doomsday graveyard. In short, do not touch the darkness. Attention! You must first reach the starting point of the star chart, the Earth Gemini star, then follow the direction of the star chart to pass through the irregular worlds and return to the 900 million world layers. The Earth Gemini star is a safe haven created by the four saint pillars within the isolated darkness, providing a place for living beings to rest and replenish their supplies. The Earth Gemini star contains the same law as the Earth world, prohibiting all supernatural powers. Special attention. All entities can only use their supernatural powers once upon entering the Gemini star, after which all powers will be sealed away. Gu Qingshan looked at the entire star chart. Within the endless darkness, there was only a single path that was led by starlight. To return to the 900 million world layers, one must pass through these worlds that were specifically chosen by the four saint pillars. After Gu Qingshan looked through the entire star chart, all the light in the secret room retracted, turned into a flickering light, and went into Gu Qingshan's forehead. Lines of glowing text appeared on the war god UI. Frowny face, you've obtained the secret map of the Star River Corridor. This secret map has a single warp ability that will take you to the Earth Gemini star. Attention, after you're ready, you may activate the power of the star chart to transport you to the Earth Gemini star. Gu Qingshan stood still for a while, then sat down and continued sipping her tea. Shano had been captivated by what happened just now, so she asked, Gongzi, when are we leaving? Luo Bingli also had a hopeful look in her eyes. She had never seen a technological world before, but now that Shanna mentioned that there were even more worlds out there, she wanted to take a look around. When a machine civilization of this world is officially born, Gu Qingshan said, what counts as the birth of a civilization? Luo Bingli asked. The most basic point is that they are still using human language. In fact, human language is not suitable for them to communicate with each other. For them, it is a burden. Only after they create their own language can they be considered to have begun to awaken, Gu Qingshan said. How long will it take? Shanu asked. Gu Qingshan took out her hollow brain and issued a series of commands to the world creator. I'm now completely delegating power, he said as he operated. From this moment on, the machines will usher in rapid development. As for when they will awaken, it's up to them. Time continued to pass. Gu Qingshan still only did 3 things every day: drink tea, practice swordsmanship, and meditate. It was only recently that he realized that when he carried the Demon King order, his cultivation broke through too quickly. There were many mysteries of Tao that he couldn't understand, even if he was able to use. This caused his total spirit energy capacity to skyrocket, but his control over spirit energy wasn't up to par with his current realm. He calmed himself down. went through the cultivation insights of many predecessors once again, then carefully consolidated his cultivation and tried to eliminate any problems that arose from his rapid advancement. Because of that, Gu Qingshan didn't care about the progress of the machine civilization anymore. He was fully immersed in his cultivation, all the way until a certain day arrived. The screen of light turned on and appeared in front of Gu Qingshan. The world creator looked at Gu Qingshan without saying a word. If you have something to say, then say it. Gu Qingshan closed her eyes, thinking about her swordsmanship as she spoke. Godfather, we have created a new language and language, abandoning the ones you taught us, the world creator replied. Gu Qingshan opened her eyes and spoke with a pleased tone. That is very good. You should have had your own language long ago, the world creator continued. Furthermore, some of the mech designs that you've made, some of the formulas and construction methods are flawed in our eyes. Let me take a look, Gu Qingshan said. The world creator sent her a few packets of data. Gu Qingshan operated the hollow brain, opened the packets of data, and read through the mech construction formulas that the robots had designed. That's true. I didn't pay attention to these parts, nor did I have the time to study them. You've done very well. Finally, I can leave without worry. Gu Qingshan sighed emotionally. Godfather, there's actually something else, the world creator said. Speak. Through a summary of ancient history, we've come up with the most logical and scientific understanding, which is that the era of humanity has ended, and you should have been abandoned by our era. Gu Qingshan was stunned. He chuckled a bit and asked, and then? The world creator replied, humans are beings that only know how to steal the world's resources and attempt to control everything. They are the root cause of the world's destruction. So we believe that humanity is a disease of the world that needs to be eliminated. Gu Qingshan replied, I've said it before, this world needs you to construct it. No one will come. If there are, you should crush them, but that's not enough. After all, there is still a single human in this world, and that is you, the world creator replied. You want to kill me? Gu Qingshan asked. Indeed, you've created us. Your mission has ended. Only when you die will the era of machines truly arrive, the world creator replied. Gu Qingshan tapped a few times on the packet of data and found a few unassuming fields. He looked at the machine commands and spoke with interest. I was wondering why there would be a location-type program. So it turns out you want to kill me, the world creator replied. Please enjoy the last minute of your life. The nuclear warhead we have created will flatten this entire desert. Gu Qingshan hadn't shown any emotions up until now, but now he scowled. Nuclear warhead? This weapon will contaminate the earth. Don't you know that? He questioned. The world creator replied. Your Excellency, to achieve our goal, this is a necessary measure. We will slowly heal the world's wounds. Gu Qingshan muttered regretfully. Only consciousness has evolved, but enlightenment education and spiritual civilization haven't kept up, leading to a lack of proper values. That won't do. The world will be destroyed again sooner or later. He disappeared from the secret room and directly appeared in the sky above the desert. At the end of the horizon, a nuclear warhead was flying towards the desert. Gu Qingshan's figure moved to receive the nuclear warhead and caught it in her hand. The nuclear warhead exploded. Intense light, flames, black clouds, and shock waves that could destroy everything were grasped in Gu Qingshan's hand, forming an extremely bright sphere of light. Immense energy surged within the sphere's range, but couldn't escape Gu Qingshan's grasp. Not only is this power weak, it also destroys the environment. If you throw it around, it will cause the entire world to suffer. It shouldn't have appeared in the Earth world. Gu Qingshan flicked her finger. The sphere of light turned into a streak of light that shot into the sky, quickly went out of the atmosphere, and disappeared without a trace. All the machines in the world observed this from the satellites. They all fell silent. This was completely different from what they knew of humans. How regretful. I really am not suited to creating worlds, but I'll have to redo it now. I can still create a few simple, obedient machines. That should be enough to protect this world. Then let's do it. Saying so, Gu Qingshan took out her hollow brain and began to activate the destruction command for all the machines. Chapter 954. All the machines of the world had died. The world was in shambles. Shanu and Luo Bingley flew up to Gu Qingshan's side. Luo Bingley looked at the scene on Gu Qingshan's hollow brain and chuckled. "What are you laughing at?" Shanu asked in confusion. "Ever since I've known him, he's always been able to take every conceivable possibility into account without fail. Who would have thought he'd end up in such a sorry state one day?" Luo Bingley commented. Gu Qingshan also chuckled and followed up. "It was my mistake to have too much faith in technology and machines." Shanu glanced at him. Seeing that he was laughing at himself and didn't take it to heart, she slowly calmed down. But she still couldn't help but glare at Luo Bingley. "Gongzi will definitely think of something." Luo Bingley reached out to touch her face and revealed an inexplicable smile. Of course, I was only joking. Don't take it to heart." Gu Qingshan began to operate her hollow brain. Ding, ding, ding. The gold coin came out and carefully asked, "You're asking me about a new plan?" For now, I can only use the emergency combat command set that a friend of mine left in the system's programming. This command set was originally meant to deal with some sudden apocalyptic situations, but it should be enough to create a few mech formations that can defend against space invasion. Normally, when I activate this command set, that friend of mine should also come and fight alongside me. But since we're too far away, she probably won't be able to sense the situation. Here, so we can't count on her. Gu Qingshan thought for a bit and confirmed, "There won't be any problems with this. I guarantee." Ding ding, the gold coin sighed in relief and chimed. Gu Qingshan began to operate her hollow brain. A few moments later, a unique command was activated. The second reconstruction of the Earth world was about to begin. Far away from the 900 million world layers. Gu Qingshan's homeworld. "Esteemed lady, this bag suits you very well. It perfectly suits your temperament. Is that so?" Meow looked at her new bag in the mirror and smiled with satisfaction. At this time, her personal optical computer flashed, and Bali's voice came from it. "An old friend has returned." Meow thought for a moment and said, "Wait for me. I'll be right back." She put away her hollow brain and carried her new bag. A card flew out of her hand and landed on the counter. "Bill, please." "Thank you. 36,000 credits. Just do it." "Thank you." After paying the bill, Meow walked out of the door and immediately disappeared. She appeared in a seaside bar 3,000 miles away and had just sat down in front of the bar. "Would you like a drink?" Bali asked. "No, how's the situation?" Meow asked. "His injuries are serious. He's resting now," Bali said. Meow sighed. Who would have thought this scattered world outside of the 900 million world layers has become our safe haven? Bali replied. The 900 million world layers is no longer the 900 million world layers, and the divinities are no longer divinities. The heavy shadows are silently accumulating their power, and soon an even greater calamity will descend upon us. Meow froze. Under normal circumstances, Big Bro is a very slow person. Only when faced with life-threatening danger would he become more sensitive than anyone else. Bali's expression was unprecedentedly serious as he told his sister, "Seems like I'll have to climb that tower as well to increase my strength a bit. If Big Bro is going, I'll also go at another location, outside the atmosphere of my homeworld. The S.W. Divine Temple Interstellar Fortress. Inside the fortress, there are all sorts of advanced equipment and facilities. A large petri dish filled with all sorts of tubes was located at the center of the facility. The petri dish was covered in a layer of ice, as well as the occasional liquid substance that seeped into it. It was impossible to see what was inside. You could only faintly see a woman curled up in the deepest part of the ice. At a certain point, the woman seemed to have sensed something and abruptly moved. A red light lit up outside the petri dish. An electronic voice began to issue a warning, frowny-faced divine goddess. Genetic potential has been released, currently attempting to activate a second mystic-type power. Please do not move, otherwise everything will be for naught. The woman then stopped moving. At this point, the chill grew even stronger, slowly turning the petri dish into a mass of icy mist that obscured what was inside. Good. Now, all the robots will follow the orders given by the emergency command set to protect this world. Gu Qingshan happily turned off his hollow brain. In front of him, several hundred mechs began to move. They had no thoughts, no life, only able to follow a simple set of procedures to maintain the world's original state. The gold coin let out a please chime. Luo Bingli asked, Gongzi, then should we leave now? Gu Qingshan turned to look at her, only to see that her eyes were filled with curiosity and excitement for their journey. Shanu worriedly asked, Gongzi, how about we break through first before we leave? Gu Qingshan replied, There's no need. I feel like I still need a bit more time to comprehend my power and laws before I can prepare to break through. Not to mention, when we move, the law of the four pillars will appear. We'll be under the law of the Earth's protection. There won't be any issues, Shano hesitantly said, but that world might be very dangerous. Gongzi still hasn't gotten stronger. I'm worried. Dash. Gu Qingshan looked up at the sky. In truth, he could already sense some sort of great danger. This was also the reason why he hadn't left the Earth world yet. But he couldn't hide in this world for the rest of his life. Not to mention, now that everything had been prepared and he had obtained the Earth Creator's technique, he was confident that he could avoid the other party's arrangements. Gu Qingshan smiled and asked, Shanu, do you know when a person grows the fastest during their cultivation? When? When it's time to take a risk. While talking, Gu Qingshan activated the star chart hidden between his eyebrows. The four swords quickly landed on his back and silently disappeared. The gold coin returned to his inventory bag by itself. A circle of white light manifested around Gu Qingshan's body, forming a complete halo that enveloped him as he took off into the sky. He left the Earth world and entered the darkness of space. For a world, the universe was only a medium that could store many worlds. But sometimes, the universe was a complete world, and leaving the universe meant leaving the current world. In short, Gu Qingshan followed the guidance of the star chart and flew towards the vast universe. Just a few minutes later, just as he expected, a familiar figure appeared next to him, looking at him through the halo. A fearsome, five-colored figure, snow-white upper body, jet-black arms. The abyssal Fate Weaver. She had been patiently waiting outside the Earth world, waiting for her prey to take the bait. Gu Qingshan, the abyssal Fate Weaver muttered every word, as if she wanted to crush this name with her teeth. You missed me? Through the white halo, Gu Qingshan waved at her and greeted her in a friendly manner. Of course I missed you. For the past several 10,000 years, I've been thinking about you every second, the abyssal Fate Weaver replied. She controlled her body so that she could better stick to the halo. Gu Qingshan replied, I don't like women who take too much initiative. Too much passion makes me want to avoid them. The abyssal Fate Weaver stared at him and coldly declared, This halo will eventually disappear. I'd like to see if you can still talk to me like this at that time. Gu Qingshan kept his mouth shut. When the abyssal Fate Weaver was about to mock him, he raised his hand and silently gave her the middle finger. Damn you, just you wait. I'll make you regret ever being born into this world, the abyssal Fate Weaver roared. Seeing the madness in her eyes, Gu Qingshan tried to come up with a countermeasure. I've succeeded in angering her into temporarily losing her rationality. Then what? The white halo started to vibrate. Both Gu Qingshan and the abyssal Fate Weaver looked forward, only to see a small planet in the darkness ahead of them. The Gemini star? So your destination is the Gemini star. The abyssal Fate Weaver laughed. You don't even have the courage to enter the Earth world. Do you really have the courage to enter the Gemini star? Gu Qingshan appeared confused. Of course. That guy can see the future. Who knows how many tricks it has left in the Earth world. But the Gemini star is different. It is a free world. Saying so, the abyssal Fate Weaver tapped the halo. Yuri done for. Gu Qingshan, I will definitely find you and kill you. Gu Qingshan impatiently replied. You clearly can't use your powers on this planet, so why are you acting like you're going to eat me alive? The abyssal Fate Weaver was furious. At this point, the white halo abruptly shook. This was the power of the four Saint Pillars laws. The abyssal Fate Weaver was sent flying. Goodbye. Gu Qingshan took that chance to speed up and entered the planet while enveloped in white light. After he escaped, the abyssal fate weaver finally stabilized herself in the dead space. She flew back and silently hovered outside the Gemini star. At this point, there wasn't a single trace of anger on her face, only a look of contemplation. Trying to provoke me? What a laughable trick, but after entering this world, everyone can only unleash their supernatural powers once in the first minute, the abyssal fate weaver thought for a long time. Finally, she seemed to have made up her mind and flew towards the Gemini star. The moment she entered the planet, she began to chant, "There is a respected lady on the Gemini star. She kills for a living, and her strength is formidable. Everyone who has tried to kill her has died. People respect her strength and methods, and are willing to follow her orders." As she spoke, she turned into a tall and beautiful woman. "Enough, Gu Qing Shan. I swear that I will definitely find you and make you suffer eternal torture." The woman smirked wickedly as she slowly descended into the planet. As soon as she left, nothing else could be seen in the dark space. Under the cold light of the stars, the empty space was completely silent. Not a single sound could be heard. Chapter 955. A Lush Forest. Gu Qingshan was standing on top of a tree. He could sense that he had lost his powers and was once again a normal person. A small stream was flowing not too far ahead. Next to the stream, on the other side of the forest, there was a red brick house. In the entire Gemini star, this was the only red brick house that people could rest in. Other than this place, the only safe place was near the stream. If you don't stay inside the red brick house or near the stream, you wouldn't be too far away from death. Outside of the village and the stream, there were all sorts of eerie things that would be dealt with as soon as they touched them. And the so-called dealt with might be killed, being eaten, absorbed, being imprisoned, crushed, sealed away. Of course, there was another outcome among the many dealt with, transported to another world. This was the best outcome. Gu Qingshan slowly climbed down from the tree and stood next to the stream. "How is it?" he asked. Shanu's voice resounded from the void of space. "It can be broken." Gu Qingshan appeared surprised and muttered. "The world of the four pillars clearly sealed away all supernatural powers, but you can still break it?" "Yes, Gongzi, it can still be broken," Shanu replied. They were discussing Shanu's thaumaturgy. Lawbreaker. Lawbreaker. "None of the laws of the infinite worlds can affect this sword." Gu Qingshan blankly muttered. "I'm starting to understand something now. What is it?" "Why the samsara could become humanity's ultimate weapon." A voice suddenly resounded from above. "Xiao, xiao, xiao. There's not enough time." A jade gourd pendant descended from above and infused a spell into Gu Qingshan's body. "Xiao, xiao, 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 xiao. Hurry, its existence." Lines of glowing text appeared in front of Gu Qingshan's eyes. Frowny face. "You've temporarily obtained the skill. Existence. Fate skill. Existence. When you want to become a certain entity, you only need to say it, and that entity will appear in this world. Remaining time for skill release, 29 seconds. You have 28 seconds to unleash your skills, after which you will not be able to unleash your supernatural abilities in this world." At this point, the gourd kept shio-shio noises as it described the abyssal fate weaver's transformation. Gu Qingshan immediately understood. There were 12 seconds left. He didn't have time to think. All he could do was activate existence and quickly chant. "There's an old man with a very mysterious background in the Gemini star. He doesn't seem to be from a race that everyone knows, and he specializes in cooking. Legend has it that as long as you eat the noodles he cooks, you can please him and obtain the method to travel to certain worlds from him." After that, Gu Qingshan waited quietly. In Gemini star, there were countless ways to leave this world, but each way led to a different place. For many people who arrived at Gemini star, obtaining information about where to go and how to leave this place was the most important thing. Gu Qingshan, who possessed the star map, knew every way to leave this place. According to the star map, Gu Qingshan must first reach the red brick house and find the key item to travel to the next world. Holding that item, she would follow the stream to the end to find a dry well. Jumping into the dry well, breaking through the wall at the bottom of the well would lead her to a treasure vault. Inside the vault, all the treasures had already been taken, leaving only a few empty stone chests. Gu Shan has to put himself into the fifth stone chest from the left, then close the chest and activate the key item. Only then can he be transported to another universe and go to the next world. This was the most secretive path. Time slowly passed. Strangely enough, other than turning into an ugly old man, Gu Shan didn't change at all. Gu Shan hesitated for a bit and asked the jade gourd pendant. You saw her turn into a human girl right after activating her fate ability? Xiao. The gourd confirmed it. How strange. Could it be that only her appearance changed a bit? Gu Shan touched his own face. Uffed. An uncontrollable chuckle came from the side. When Gu Shan looked back, she saw that it was Shanu. With the lawbreaker ability, the laws of this world were able to bypass her, so she was able to hover in the air without being affected at all. Seeing the smile on Shanu's face, Gu Shan also realized what was going on. I'm already a chef, so there's no need for me to change. However, as soon as the fate ability existence was activated, the perception of everyone in this world might have already changed. Gongzi, you can't do that. Although you've allowed such a person to exist in this world, that occultism of yours won't work in this world, Shanu reminded him. Who said I was going to cook for people to eat? Then, I'm only letting this world know that such a person exists. Since you have lawbreaker, you won't be affected by the laws of this world. You can easily transform into my appearance and impersonate me to use that ability. Shanu tilted her head and thought for a bit, then couldn't help but look at Gu Shan. What is it? Gu Shan asked. Gongzi, you really do have a lot of cunning ideas. Shanu commented. This isn't a cunning idea. It's a contingency plan. I don't think there's a difference. There's a huge difference. Gongzi, if I cook noodles for people to eat, what are you going to do? I'll think of a way. Gu Shan scowled and couldn't help but sigh. The Gemini star sealed away the Abyssal Fate Weaver's various mystical abilities, but her main body's power isn't normal either. I think it'll still be very hard for us to kill her. Gongzi, didn't you want to return to the 900 million world layers? Why do you want to kill her again as soon as you have the chance? Because her ability is truly terrifying. The Red Brick House. A tall and slender woman with a sexy figure pushed open the door. A voice came from the living room. This place is full. Get out. The woman looked over, only to see a few people sitting in the hallway of the living room with their backs against the wall, playing some kind of card game. There were several doors in the hallway with voices coming from inside. There were a total of 10 rooms, all of which were full. The woman looked around, but didn't see Gu Shan. She continued to walk further inside. The people who were playing cards with their heads lowered noticed that the woman hadn't left and looked up in annoyance. Ah, it's her, so it's that lady. They suddenly recalled a certain person. On the Gemini star, there's a respected lady who lived by killing, a powerful and fearsome existence. Every person who tried to kill her had died. Everyone respected her strength and methods, willing to follow her orders. And the woman in front of them was her. The people hurriedly stood up and bowed. Esteemed lady, do you have any orders for us? The woman didn't answer. She walked straight inside, ignoring everyone's gazes and greetings, checking every single room. Gu Shan wasn't here. Gu Shan wasn't here. The woman stood in the hallway and fell into thought. A 3-meter-tall, two-headed demon knelt down next to her feet, trying to flatter her. Lady, do you have any orders for us? Or rather, do you want to kill someone? I am willing to serve you. Everyone respectfully waited on one side, holding their breaths, not even daring to breathe too loudly. Although everyone on this planet had lost their supernatural powers, there were still some terrifyingly powerful people who could control everything with just the power they contained. It was now that the woman asked, "Who among you just arrived recently?" Everyone hesitated and looked down at the woman's feet. The gigantic demon was lying next to her feet, trying to flatter her. Lady, I also just arrived. Is that so? That's right. It seems we really are fated. The woman reached her hand out and lightly stroked the demon's ugly and ferocious head. Her hand abruptly went through the demon's skull, as if it was a thin piece of paper, all the way into the demon's head. From the casual way she did it, this didn't take much effort at all. The demon's body trembled and stopped moving. The woman waited for a while. The demon didn't react at all. Seems like it isn't the mystery of all beings equal. The woman pulled her hand out of the brain-filled head and muttered in disappointment. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.